So what's up, Javi?
What's going on, Frankie? Disclaimer before the episode starts.
Disclaimer.
This episode was recorded back in December 8th of 2021. This is one of our test episodes. We couldn't get our shit together for the week, so we decided to just put out a test episode.
December 8th, 2021.
Hope you guys enjoy.
Psych! Got you. I don't get warnings for this, so when this has happened, I just gotta go with it. But if you still think we're shooting in 2021, you're not a good listener.
Or you don't understand sarcasm.
Maybe some people don't, man. Actually, I don't understand sarcasm that much.
Oh, you don't understand sarcasm?
No. No. Fuck out of here. What kind of imbecile do you think I am? But on Earth, Mind, and Matter, all we are is sarcastic, you know? Nothing we say is serious.
We're very quippy.
Quippy. I've never used that word in my life. But if you're getting your panties in a bunch while listening to us, again, I think that means we're doing a good job. Ultimately, you know?
And that's not sexual.
Or sarcastic. Welcome back. Welcome fucking back.
Welcome.
I was telling Javi before we started, I feel like I haven't been here for years. Not years.
Right?
I didn't say years. I lied about. But I really feel like I ain't been here for a while, man. Coming back from the comic book shop, that was fucking awesome.
Fucking great.
Still can't believe that shit happened. And yeah, man, got a lot of exciting new things hopefully coming, soon.
Yep.
Aside from this amazing show.
Of course,
Yeah,
as
man.
always.
So what's happening now, Javi?
We're on the earth.
Man, this is what's in our minds.
And this is why it matters.
It's Earth, Mind, and Matter, man. I'm Frankie.
Ooh, and I'm Javi.
And welcome, man. Welcome back. Damn, man. I'm fucking hyped to be here, bro.
Feels
Super
so
hyped.
good to do that every time.
On some real shit, man. Like, again, I'll say this. I don't know if I said it before, but maybe I have. When we start shooting, right, beforehand, I just get a little like, all right, we got to put in work and stuff. But when we do this, man, aside the work we do have to put in, I just feel that this is a good place to just relax, talk. This is not like work. This is the fun part of the day. you
Yeah.
know? Fuck everything else, man. Busy ass day today. But yeah, how you been, man?
It's been all right.
Yeah.
I had this lady at like 6:10 in the morning.
Is that her?
I feel like we should keep that in.
Fuck it, we are, man. Shout outs to Link.
Link.
Don't do it, Javi. Don't do it.
Hey, whoa.
Yo, don't do it. Stop eating Link, Javi.
Hey.
Stop doing it.
Oh my
Yo.
God.
Yo.
I'm so glad we have video for this, you lying son of a bitch.
I completely forgot we have video for that.
Yeah, Link, you tell him.
Link, I don't know if you ever heard of a podcast.
Oh, man.
So, okay, however you can leave that in. The funny thing is that before the episode started, he was like, yo, bro, so I cut Link's nails today. So when he walks around, you won't hear the little but instead, all you heard was
There's just some things you can't control.
good shit, Link. Thanks for protecting our honors.
You wouldn't do shit. Yeah, you wouldn't do anything.
That's really funny, man. Fuck it. When I start hitting the mic, I'm gonna make it go black visually on the
No.
visual.
Oh, I forget you're editing this. You fuck.
That's so funny, man. Holy shit. Well, yeah, man. So we'll have video for the episode, and man, some things are just meant to be because that was so funny. And what a way to start episode 11.
Episode 11.
Man.
Tonight we'll be celebrating episode 10
Hell
after
yeah.
we're done filming.
Hell yeah, we will.
So
I don't even think we mentioned that it was episode 10 in the last episode. I don't know.
no, we never really made much of a point to it.
We were just so excited to be in
Yeah.
Everyone Comic and Books.
Everyone comics and books.
Long Island City off the 7 train.
Queensboro Plaza.
Queensboro Plaza. There we go. Thank you, Demetrius, once more. Really appreciate that motherfucker, man.
Yeah, man. It was a great shop.
Mhm.
And I definitely want to start going there now when I get my comics weekly.
Hell
as
yeah,
soon as
man.
I catch up, that's where I'm going to start going.
Yeah, bro. And I can't wait to start reading everything I got from there, man. I already finished the Superior Spider-Man. That shit was
Nice.
awesome. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I'm finally falling in love actually into reading these comic
Nice.
books. It's really a whole new thing. And again, it's like almost therapeutic, man. It's escaping. You don't got to wait years for a movie to come out. You could just pick up a comic book and have a little movie right there. in
It's
front of
always
you.
happening.
Always, bro. Oh, actually, tell the people what you told me today about the Riddler and Batman.
Oh, so DC just announced today that Paul Dano, the actor who played the Riddler, is actually writing a comic about his character for DC Comics.
Yeah,
it's titled Riddler Year One, and so the movie takes place in year 2 of Batman's like whole thing.
Same thing as the movie.
Well,
was that year 1 or year 2?
Well, the movie itself takes place during year 2 of like Batman's like crusading and stuff. So the fact that this comic is Riddler Year 1,
so it's before the movie.
Yeah, it's a prelude to the movie. So we get to it kind of fills in some plot, some maybe plot holes or maybe some little ideas here and there. So it should be pretty interesting to check that out.
Bro, I can't wait. That shit
comes out in October.
Okay, thank you for letting me know again. But thank you for letting the people know too. Because honestly speaking, like. I mean, again, I very much enjoyed the Batman. I know I've been hearing a lot of different opinions on that and shit like that.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Some people are really not for it.
And that wasn't supposed to be sarcastic. That sounded a little sarcastic, but no, it's weird.
You can get your panties in a bunch. And that was sexual.
Oh my God.
Fucking, yeah, man. I hear so much back and forth things about it. But the reason I kept watching it over and over again is just, it's something about it that got me hooked, man. Like I watched it 3 times and I'm gonna watch it a 4th.
Nice.
And it's just falling into that world of fucking DC. And I think it may not have been the most perfect movie, but I think all around it was a great film. And I think it's gonna, like, in the long run, it'll be more appreciated. But the reason I go is because once they stopped showing it in the theaters, like, one of the thoughts I had was like, whoever we have as Batman and Spider-Man before, like Tobey Maguire, right? And who played Batman initially? Wasn't it the mayor and the Family Guy?
Michael Keaton.
It was Michael Keaton and somebody else.
And then we had I know who you're talking about, the mayor from Family Guy. Just search it up. I feel so mad. I'm so mad.
Adam West.
Adam West. So dumb that
See, I knew you.
I'm so frustrated with myself. God damn it.
Fuck you, Adam West. Rest in peace. He's alive. Is he?
No,
he's not alive. That's our rest in peace for the week. Well, how'd he die?
I forget actually.
What do you know, Javi?
Apparently fucking nothing. God damn it.
But look up how Adam was that. But okay, what I was thinking is that we're gonna see Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, and in the future when they're older and much wrinklier, we're gonna see them and be like, they were Batman at one point, Batman and Catwoman, and by then it'll be like 5 or 10 more renditions of whatever we're gonna have at that point. So.
I mean, hey, Michael Keaton's coming back to play Batman, so that's cool.
I don't even know who Michael Keaton is.
What the fuck?
I only know his name. I don't know.
Have you seen Birdman?
No.
What the fuck?
That's that movie where he's flying around with wings, right? But it's not real. It's kind of imaginary, right? I heard the movie's really good.
Have you seen The Founder?
Yes, I have.
That's Michael Keaton.
Bald guy?
Yes.
Yo, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
That's Michael Keaton.
We're not doing movies today, but if you haven't watched The Founder, check that shit out, because I feel like anybody that wants to do anything in the world, in America, in terms of money and business, just check out The Founder. It's not that it'll teach you anything, but it'll just show you a lot, if that makes any sense. It's a great movie. And he died of leukemia. Yeah, a short but brave battle. They should have just left that out. It's just dead, so. Damn,
sad.
Yeah, 88 years old, man.
Good life, though.
I guess so. All right. Not that it's funny. No, it's not funny at all. It's just Adam West is hilarious. What a cool person,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Anyway.
But before we officially start, I'll say one last thing.
What's up, man?
Shout out to Jerome Pena. He is the artist to Seven to Eternity and many other titles that I'm forgetting the name of right now, but Seven to Eternity is the one that's a highlight for me. He signed a bunch of my comics at the grand opening of Everyone Comics and Books. Again,
really?
Check it out.
Nice.
And I told him, I was like, I got to shout you out on the show. You're so great.
Nice. What was his name again?
Jerome Pena.
Jerome Pena.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, man.
And he really liked the Batman too.
That's fucking
we talked about the Batman.
Nice. So see, I think that's where, again, I strictly think that The Dark Knight ruined the Batman for the movie theaters. That's like what I really think. I did see The Dark Knight in theaters, but that's why I take advantage now, getting to see the Batmobile and hearing it loudly, and when the penguin comes out and then like, you think you mess with my money, it's just everything is just an excited world to really immerse yourself in. You know, so I can't wait to see it again. And there's a little Nirvana song in there. Just want to throw it out there, a little hint for the later on.
I don't get it.
Never mind. So such a emphatic introduction, right?
Right.
Crazy shit. But I do have some news set up before the AMC section.
Let's do it.
And since this is our 11th episode, some people may not know what the AMC section is. Some people may not know who you are. They'll definitely know who I am. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. All right.
No, or vice versa, But what is the AMC section for the people?
Albums, movies, and comic books. That's what we talk about, and we take turns talking about each of those things every week.
Hell yeah, man. And before we do that, we talk about, at least 3 topics in the news. Sometimes we go a little further. If we get segued, we go into the b-hole. But and the topics I got for you. So the first one is going to be the decline of Social Security and how it may be revived.
Okay.
Social Security, I don't know if you heard of it.
Nah, I don't think I have one of those.
Damn, bro. Well, that's you then. We could talk about something else. I'm also going to be talking about reporters who are dying, reporting the news in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're called foreign correspondents.
Yeah.
Altogether. And then I also want to talk about, I know athletes is a vague way to put it, but overall how fan interference can really mess with an athlete's life.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give many examples from it, but for now we'll just say by Russell Westbrook, and then I can't talk. Russell Westbrook has been getting death threats.
Okay.
And he's a basketball player, so we'll get more into that towards the last section. But yeah, I mean those are the news topics, and man, I'm just happy to be here, bro. Fucking Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. So any not last words. Any more words?
Last words? You trying to kill me? You gonna kill me off? Is this part of the script?
Yeah. Man.
Oh
the
no!
Joker?
Did I just reveal that this is scripted?
Yeah, everything is scripted from the beginning to the end. So if we weren't that impressive, that sucks, man.
I mean, honestly, it's probably more impressive that this is all scripted and we're just really good actors.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, to sound not scripted, if it's scripted, is a talent, right?
Yeah.
It's almost acting.
It's almost an art.
Which this is not. Which Earth Might Matter is not an art.
Whoa, hey!
It's an expression.
You tell me that's not art?
That's art.
I'm pointing to our logo on the TV.
Which you guys can't see. What, visually or audioly. That's not a word. Man. Sonically. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
That's hilarious. The fucking blue teeth Sonic. All right. Let's go forward and let's start this talk about Social Security. Because it's one of those things that I did not expect to be talking about.
Okay.
I wanted to really dig deep and find something that we can speak about and kind of be a little educational too,
All right.
And it's not that the Social Security has been on the news now, but it really refers to what's going to happen with it in the future and how it kind of came up. So the first thing I wanted to mention was that I think it's important all the time to bring up anything that could benefit listeners financially.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember that was really important to you when we were first setting up this podcast.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just feel that because we're kind of just messengers to anybody in our realm of listening and or our voices. I just want to make sure that if we could entertain you, that's awesome. If we could take up some of your time and make you feel less lonely, that's cool. But if we could actually teach you something in the process of it, especially finances, which I think is most crucial to all younger people, especially minorities and everything too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna do your taxes and shit, but
can you do my taxes, Frankie?
I might, or I could refer you. Hey man, I know an accountant that did Will Ferrell's taxes.
Ooh.
So message me if you want the accountant that did Will Ferrell's taxes. We won't say his name to protect his identity, but it's hilarious.
Link.
I just stared at Link. All right. And so I to get back at it, I think it's very important to benefit our listeners financially. And of course, Social Security is what affects most of us, if not all of us. And not every single person in the United States. There's some complicated things when it comes down to citizenship or all that stuff. But I'm not talking about that today. So I hope whatever we talk about right now, you take something from it. So I want to also say and start off this whole conversation by saying we're the generation to say they don't teach us this in school, but we have an iPhone in front of us or a laptop or multiple electronics that can kind of teach us just a bit of what they couldn't teach us in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we choose to not take advantage of these tools. You know, like anything you want to know financially, of course there's structure and you have to have like a stepping stool, you know, like stepping little steps to get to a more experienced level of talking about things.
Stepping stones.
But I still think that if you wanted to learn how to do something, YouTube is the best place to go, or Google or something. And there's free books everywhere. So I just read an article. So, Social Security is something 96% of the U.S. population agrees on and is relying on, right?
Okay. But
57% of Americans aren't confident in the future of the Social Security program.
Interesting.
So with your paycheck, 12.4% of your gross income goes to Social Security. And your gross income is wages, dividends, capital gains, business income, retirement distributions, as well as other income, right? So 12.4 of what you receive is going to Social Security, right? And a lot of times people who are anti-government, like conspiracy theorists, you know, 5G, all that stuff, those are the ones that have less faith in Social Security.
Interesting.
Right? So when it comes to like financial planners, when they get younger clientele, those are the ones that are saying like, man, but I don't really, you know, even some people don't even think about like savings accounts as something that is as useful as it could be before, you know?
Yeah.
As in, why not have your money now and save it for later? Because in Social Security, you get your money when you're 65 plus years old, you know, when you retire. So it began on August 14th, 1935. It was signed into law by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, and it's as of now 86 years old, right?
Okay.
The way they describe...
Wow, that's actually younger than I thought it'd be.
Yeah, man, I had no... Everything you're about to hear right now, I had no idea either. Mind you, when we sign our most important papers or go to our most important, you know, financial things, they ask us for this, you know, and we have no knowledge of the history of it at all. So, again, it may not be Pete Davidson, Kanye West interesting, you know, and Kim K, the most famous porn star.
I can't wait for the one asshole to be like, oh, well, actually, I learned this in school.
Yeah, man, you know, I had the opportunity, and just because you guys didn't listen doesn't mean fuck this show, man. Follow me on Twitter. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And those are often people who are more, you know, privileged in life. You know, we don't gotta mention who and this and that, but they got that advantage to learn that in school. And again, this is just a small segment into what it really is entirely. But I just, when I was reading it, I thought it was more important because even up until then, finding out how young it is, Social Security, right? It's just interesting. So how a lot of financial planners describe the American retirement system is often as a three-legged stool, right? So the first leg of the stool is having a healthy pension from work. Do you know what pension is?
Not really.
So the definition...
Not at all.
I won't even say really. Pension is a regular payment made during a person's retirement from an investment fund to which that person or their employer has contributed during their working life.
Okay.
So basically it's a sum of money that while you accrued while you were working and stuff, and that later on pays for your living and all that stuff further on.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Basically, a different definition that's much more simpler for pension is guaranteeing money for the rest of your life.
It's kind of like the ultimate savings account.
The ultimate savings account, yes. And then, you know, it's very difficult to withdraw from, you know, real hardcore savings account like 401ks and stuff like that. You know, you get really taxed and shit, all that stuff. The second stool would be ample personal savings, so just your regular savings, you know, being able to build that up really well. And the third leg of the stool is a monthly Social Security payment, right? Now, the National Institute on Retirement Security reports less than 7% of retirees today have steady income from all three legs of the stool. Okay, so if you're already retired, you kind of are expected to have all these three sectors kind of filled out already. You know, your savings, your pension. And
but that's not always the case, I'm guessing.
Yeah, especially for 7%, which is still a whole bunch of people, considering that all of the U.S. pretty much relies on this program. You know, so it's getting a little more juicy now. Bear with me, you know, to the listeners. I know Javi's like, wow, this is so interesting. The Congress is who handles Social Security, right? So the thing about Social Security right now is that if they don't change things soon, they're no longer going to have enough money to pay for its promised benefits, which will just happen in just over a decade. Okay. So essentially, the money saved up for, future retirees, we're not going to have enough to pay every single retiree, which is pretty much me, you, and everybody else who's not dying already, or you're not dying, but it's retiring soon.
So then what are we doing?
Bro, it's a shit thing. And there's reasons to explain that. Right. So, before we get into what they're not going to be able to cover, I'm going to tell you what Social Security covers, right? What does it pay for? Okay. Right? Social Security is one of the most successful anti-poverty programs this country has ever created. Right?
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you. And I expected that. Not like I don't undermine your intelligence or whatever, but again, it's just I wonder.
I knew you weren't gonna know this because you're a fucking moron.
This is dumb, man. I know this. I read one article, man.
I read one article. I took one class, one semester, and I think I actually know a good amount.
You know how many times I heard that? Yeah, I took one class, and honestly, I know everything. So, no, you don't, man. At least take two. At least take two. Without Social Security is, and if you want to play a drinking game at home, take a shot every time I say Social Security. You'll be deader like it's
holy shit.
Starting 5 minutes ago.
Social Security.
Death by Earth, Mind, and Matter. So often, S is for 65 plus retirees in age, but it also covers 6.9 million people under 65 years old and 1.9 million children. So Social Security goes a long way.
Yeah.
Without Social Security benefits, 21.7 million more Americans would be below the poverty line, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. Right?
You said 21 million?
21.7 million.
21.7 million.
Without Social Security benefits, they would be below the poverty line. Right? The income from Social Security, it goes to surviving spouses and their children as well. So, if you die and this and that money gets passed down to your, spouse, whatever, or your child, right? And more importantly, I think, I won't say more importantly, but a crucial part of it is that Social Security disability insurance helps pay the monthly bills for qualified disabled workers and their families. Okay. So a lot of people are receiving this money. It's not just, money that's like, okay, only old people are going to get it and this and that. It covers a lot of ground.
Yeah.
And it's doing a lot of things in the behind the scenes almost, And now we
definitely. I mean, the fact that again, that we didn't really know about this before talking about this. Like, I would love. We got to put a poll in supplementary to see how many people knew this or not.
And imagine this. Imagine I say Javi, Javi, from here on out, from your paycheck, I'm gonna take 10% every week or something.
How dare you?
Exactly, right? So it's like, how come we're all to the government like, yo, how dare you guys? And I think if somebody's taking money out of my paycheck, we better be educated on it, right? But even being in New York City, how much taxes do we pay?
A good amount.
Boy, fuck that tax. I hate it. And people are saying, raise the taxes. And I'm gonna get to that in a second because sometimes that's not the best solution for those who are dealing with poverty, regardless.
Okay.
Like, yes, it may make sense to raise taxes for people who are richer, for sure. But raising taxes in general could not benefit everybody too, if it's not done correctly, or in time.
I've never even heard the argument that all taxes should be raised.
Yeah, man, it gets pretty. I will skip over a little, but at a point, especially with donations and stuff like that, it gets real tricky. They'll say somebody, I won't say like Jeff Bezos because he's fucking stupid, dumb, rich, But there are some rich.
I thought you were just gonna say stupid, fucking dumb.
There's a lot of rich people who pretty much pay the same taxes as somebody who's making like $100,000 a year. Because of loopholes and donations. And I may have said this on a recent podcast, but somebody came into my school and was like, for every $1 you donate, you get $2 back. You remember that?
Yeah.
So I've donated money before and I've gotten some tax breaks, but not to the point of, Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. So we get to the Social Security trust funds, right? Okay. What do you think of when I say trust funds?
I just think of it as like another savings account.
Pretty much. And the Social Security trust funds are the financial accounts that the program draws from when annual payments to Americans are larger than the annual tax collection. Okay. So right now the funds are at 2.91 trillion. It's a lot of money.
Trillion.
Yeah. Excuse me real quick.
I mean, the second you even pull out the T word.
Jeff Bezos is expected to be the first trillionaire.
Ew.
That's crazy, bro. Yo, let me get $70, bro. Jeff, please, if you hear this podcast, Venmo me $70. Venmo's here.
Nice.
Put your Venmo.
The Cash App.
Send money, man. That we could later donate to kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
That's exactly what I've been thinking. Are we still doing the sarcasm bit?
Not at all. So there's $2.91 trillion in a big trust fund, basically, for Social Security. And what they mean is we'll only take from that if the taxes we collected throughout the year aren't enough to pay for our retirees. So this is just my guessing, but I imagine because of COVID, that had to be dipped in a lot more.
Yeah.
That's just my guess, but that makes a lot of sense. Now, we're expected to be out of money, the trust fund, in 12 years. Basically 2034. We were expected to run out.
Good year.
Good year, man. Best one. If you add 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 4 is 9, and I was born on 9/19. I'm not gonna tell you the rest.
You lost me.
Whatever. So we were expected to run out the money in 2034. I mean, in 2058. But now we're expected to run out in 2034, which is a whole 24 years earlier than expected.
Man, and how quickly did that time span shorten?
I mean, I would say ever since it began. So since 86 years ago. The expectancy has been,
so it sort of like the original projections was just kind of off.
And one of the more interesting reasons is because it has a lot to do with boomers. Boomers, you know who you are. None of our listeners.
Without a doubt.
And for those who don't know who boomers are, because face it, like in the future, people won't know what the fuck that is, you know? They'll just know them as like people talking mad shit about them. You good? All right. So boomers are those born between 1946 and 1964, right?
46 to 64.
Yes, and
pretty easy to remember, actually.
Exactly. not the more you know. And those boomers are gonna retire and double the amount of current beneficiaries. You know.
Okay.
Now it goes back to the expectancy of life, right? It used to be that we thought it was much lower, the expectancy of life, the life expectancy. Very hard to say. It was not as long as today. So now today people are living longer, right? And essentially crazy. And that means that the workers will be receiving benefits for a longer period of time. And those with higher incomes, which are generally those who receive higher benefit amounts, tend to live longer on average. Essentially, if you're retired, you're going to live longer also because you're going to have enough money to keep yourself alive with, insurance and doctors and, all that good stuff.
Okay.
All right. So now, if you're still following, and I really hope you are, so if this happens, only 78% of everyone that's promised benefits will receive benefits, right?
Okay.
So if there was 4 of us here right now, only 3 of us would receive it, and somebody wouldn't. But equate that to the whole country. Right?
3 of us and a foot.
I was thinking that because the 78%. That's where the disability insurance comes in, and I think that matters a lot because. Now we're dipping into the money that we're making per year. So essentially that $2.91 trillion is out. There's no more. And we'll be basing who gets benefits off the year's worth of tax collection. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting. And I think before 1955, there were 8 workers per Social Security beneficiary. And now there are 2.7 workers per beneficiary. So there's a lot less. Exactly. We have a lot more people being soon to be retired than we do workers providing for the retirees in the future and themselves. It's like this misbalance of everything. Yeah. And so in order to fix this, not to sound preachy, but it does come down to Congress and, our impact on Congress or push on Congress to fix those things. Because they either have to raise taxes and modify the benefits we as the people receive, right? So then it comes down to, instead of being like 12.4%, like they're contemplating raising our stuff to like 14.6%.
Okay.
And I mean, I didn't go that in deep with it because I felt like at that point I'm just going real hard with all those, facts about politics and numbers. And
I would love to know what the projections are with like weed sales and weed tax in New York.
I think it's a shitload of, and especially with this Russia thing interfering now with however that's going to affect us economically further on.
Yeah.
I just think it's something to worry about. And like, I hope this conversation we're having doesn't really have to be one that is so relevant later on. Like, I hope it gets fixed before it becomes a bigger problem than it is.
Imagine like this episode just becomes so dated because we're talking about these things and people are listening in the year like 2050 and they're like, look,
Social Security.
These assholes talking about Social Security. Remember that? Remember that?
I will be alive. How dare you? Nah, but the link part was pretty cool.
Can we get a link shirt?
soon, link shirt soon. But nah, I just, again, for me, these are things that when I was reading it, I just found them interesting just because it's just a little more information in my head. Yeah. And, it really doesn't hurt to know these things at all. And I hope, like, out of all the people that listen, at least one of them looks into it and be like, hey, maybe I could actually change something or know somebody that could push actual change for whatever steps we need to take. It's a huge thing to fix, so I don't expect it to be something done so quickly. But I mean that includes, parents, grandparents, your children, everybody's affected,
If you're a citizen.
Exactly. And even going down to it further, like, hopefully things can change so all people receive it, It's just one of those things where I'm happy I got to look into it, and I will definitely look into it more because I just feel much more appreciative of what's going on around me if I understand it more.
Yeah.
You get me? So yeah, man. Everybody tattoo your social security numbers to your arm. And yeah, man.
I have a pretty funny story where in terms of my social security card.
I did not expect that. I got the funniest social security story.
Well, so, I was getting my license for my mobile food truck vendor's license because I used to work on a waffle truck.
Yes, you did.
And so
best waffles in the city.
I wouldn't go there if I were you. Let's not shout them out.
Never mind. We're not. Eggo's waffles. Those shits are slamming.
Always get some Eggo waffles. Always, man. This is episode 11, Stranger Things reference. Eggo waffles. It's all connected.
I never seen Stranger Things, Javi.
What the fuck, man?
I still haven't listened to a Blink-182 song too.
I hate you. God damn it.
I have flashbacks to me saying, "I got you, man. I'm gonna listen to some Blink-182."
You know what I had a flashback of?
What'd you had a flashback of?
You said you were gonna get a fucking beret. Where's your beret, you son of a bitch?
We had to go to the comic book shop.
We're on video. You don't got no beret.
I was hoping this one would come up. I need to get one, and then I get a red one, and I have to say "Make America Great Again" or some shit.
Make berets great again.
Make berets great again.
I told you it didn't exist. I googled it while I was listening to the episode, and it doesn't exist.
I'll make one, bro. I swear to God, I'll make one.
Fucking make it. You won't.
I'm excited to wear a beret, man. I've never worn one, so it'll be like, popping a cherry. My beret cherry.
Cherry colored
beret. No shirt. And yeah, man. So what was your story with the social security?
Yeah,
coming at me. You finish your story.
We went in a fucking beehole of a beehole. No, so I was getting my mobile food vendor's license, and I went into the department of whatever here in New York.
Department of food trucks.
Yeah, whatever, like food stuff. And they needed my social security. So I was like, okay, cool. So I give them my card, and they were like, this is illegal. I'm like,
what the fuck?
What do you mean it's illegal? And they're like, you can't have this here. I'm like, why? They're like, because it's laminated. What? And I was like,
what the fuck?
What?
Your social security card?
Yeah.
You can't laminate your social security?
It can't be laminated.
What?
And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And they were like, yeah, no, this is illegal. And I was like,
I guess because they need to feel it, or
I don't know. But I was just like, what the fuck? And they were just kind of like, yeah, no, you gotta take out a new social security card and come back. So I had to go through a whole process of getting a new social security card.
Like, get on the ground. Get on the ground. Everybody comes in from the roofs.
Just like you get a fucking card that says I can drive this truck.
Oh man,
so
bro.
dumb.
That's funny as fuck. I mean, you're just a criminal. You're just a criminal, bro.
Excuse me, because I'm the asshole that has a laminated social security
card. Who does this guy think he? This guy over here, fucking
this fucking guy. Oh hey.
Jesus Christ, man! Can't give nobody anything nowadays. They want to laminate that shit. Y'all laminating your COVID cards and losing them shit. Hilarious, hilarious, bro. Now I had to replace my social security card, my passport. Turns out I had it the whole time in my house. So now I got 2 copies.
You need to get your license out, man.
Yo, man, don't tell the people. Yeah, if anything happens, shut up, Javi.
I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm gonna just leave it as a mystery.
Yeah, man, he's just kidding. Sarcasm.
Yeah, we're still doing the sarcasm bit.
No, this whole episode is sarcasm. The next topic is sarcasm. So the next topic. Oh, any last words on Social Security?
I mean, honestly, no. That was I'm glad that we did talk about that because it was definitely a lot of stuff I did not know of before. Yeah, so, and it's like you said, it's just stuff to be appreciative of. Yeah. So man. I'm glad that we talked about it.
Nice. And should we say our Social Security numbers right now, right here, at the same time?
Okay.
3,
7,
2,
7,
1.
6.
Oh, I thought I was counting down.
Oh shit.
No, all right. Social Security's ready. Right. Get your pens ready.
All right.
3, 2, 1. 0, 4, 6, 34, 9, 6, 1, 4, 8, 9. All right. Nice. So yeah, stealing our identities and feel free, man. I ain't got shit on my money.
Can we put the numbers on the screen here too?
Right. Yeah, he's a Social Security card.
Oh, it should type out as we're saying it.
Shut up. That's way more work than I wanted to do. Bug it out here, bro. It's gonna be 2 Social Security cards and a panda. That's it. No. Like we try to make me do mad work, bro. Fucking Nevermind and work.
Hey man, you said this is supposed to be fun.
It was until we had the editing kicks in. Got so much stuff to do, man. So much. We've been pretty busy. We're
busy guys.
On some real shit, man. But busy is better than not.
Yeah.
We could just be home relaxing. But no, we're here putting in mad work.
I just watched a video of a commentary of a commentary video of someone's YouTube video where it was their daily routine.
Okay.
And it's just this super douchey guy that's just kind of going through his daily routine. And his alarm clock to him waking up says rise and grind.
Rise and grind, sexy.
So
to turn it off, he has to say, all right, back at you, handsome.
So keep that mentality, y'all. Rise and grind.
Rise and grind. And then put your sunglasses on immediately. Don't brush your teeth. And wear the same clothes 5 days a week, bro. That's
like
how
a fucking cartoon.
That's exactly how you do it, bro. Anyway, we're talking about dead reporters now.
Okay.
We're talking about, we got a lot of people dying in war zones. Right?
Yes.
And I'm sure you've heard about that. Actually, tell me what you've heard about these reporters dying.
The only thing I've heard is just recently about the Fox News cameraman that was crushed in a car.
Oh, wow. He was crushed in a car?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I thought, I think it might be, there's several. That's why that's why I'm confused a little. But I have Brent Renaud, who's a U.S. journalist. He was shot at in a checkpoint in Kyiv in Ukraine. Excuse me, just burp. Javi will take that out.
No, I won't.
Fuck. Shit. Okay, so I'll go down the list. Maybe we'll come across the same thing.
Okay.
And I wanted to bring up these recently dead reporters, just because I got into a very interesting conversation about this topic in general, right? Just having people go from the United States to a different country to report. I think that in itself is a curious thing to me. But I'm going to go down this list because I have 2 recent and 1 that happened a long time ago that even before this podcast, when I watched it, I'm like, that's some bullshit. So I'll get to that in a bit. What I have right now is that on Sunday, March 13th, there was a guy named Brent Renaud, right?
Okay.
He was killed while reporting outside of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And he was 50 years old. He was shot at a checkpoint in Irpin, which is in Kyiv. And also a photographer he was with was injured. And his name was Juan Arredondo.
Okay.
So, fellow Latino right there. Getting hurt. But also rest in peace to Brent Renaud, who is, died doing, something that would benefit us perspective-wise and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Really is brave to go there. And then the following day, there were 2 deaths that occurred in the village of Horenka, which is right outside of Kyiv. And the first person to die his name was Pierre Zokrzycki, a U.S. cameraman for Fox. He was 55 years old, and he was a photojournalist. Also, Alexandra Gushinova, she was a Ukrainian journalist, only 24 years old. Which, of course, yeah, man. I mean, it sucks either way, but Jesus Christ, 24 years old, that's right around our vicinity, Yeah. So, fucking sad. Also, somebody else was injured. His name is Benjamin Hall. Their car also came under fire. When Brent Murnau, the person I mentioned first, was killed in the city of Irpin, he went to go film refugees fleeing the area, and during the attack, the bullet hit him in the neck, and he instantly died. Shit. So there was like no chance for his survival. Probably the other guy, the Pierre Zuski, he probably was the one that you found out that got crushed by the car or something like that.
I'm gonna try and find. I'm not gonna say anything more to it.
Lying out here.
I'm just gonna try and find it after the episode.
Everybody call Javi a liar.
Just take it with a grain of.
We don't use that around here.
I would. I might just add it as a sound effect, but I'm just gonna add like a little squeak.
Little sauce shaker. Fucking. So these reporters died, and now I kind of want to ask, because it was a little like maybe one of those arguments that isn't really an argument, but kind of a very opinionated conversation, a dialogue, whatever. And so I started off by saying, why are these reporters going over to this country to report? Not that they have no right to, or this and that. Of course, they want to represent or get at least fair perspective or whatever. Mm-hmm. But one thing I thought of was kind of saying, aren't they taking away the opportunity for example, Ukrainian reporters to report? And what about English-speaking Ukrainian journalists and photographers? What if they wanted to report for their country, and we have people coming from like Fox and CNN going over there to do the job for them? Like, so my thoughts were, aren't you kind of taking their jobs, their opportunities, their representation? So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on just where you're watching the news, because like Fox and CNN are going out there, but I don't think people in Ukraine are watching Fox and CNN. I think maybe they have their own news channels, like their own sorts of like versions of like NBC or something like that.
True.
It's like, I mean, I could be wrong in saying that, but that's just the first thing that came to mind. It's just that I mean, I'm sure there's still taking away some sort of representation.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable almost.
Yeah, because it's just kind of like these corporations are so massive, like they're kind of global.
And what's their motive aside of just sharing the news?
Well, I'll say that CNN is global. Actually, I'm thinking about it. They're global. So they
have reporters that are already there and stuff like that. But I just think more so, because that makes perfect sense. And then I thought, well, if that's the case, why don't the big reporters in America just broadcast Ukrainian news on their channel? Like, why don't we just have their stuff played on our American TVs and allow them to do reporting? Because I know that sounds kind of just counterintuitive for a station, because they need to have ratings and stuff. But I forgot which anchor I saw over there in Ukraine. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing over there? I'm like, just stay here, man. Like, this is not to sound insensitive, but you're dying and shit in different places. And who's to say if you live there or whatever? But if you just traveled over there and you died because you put yourself in harm's risk to report the news, again, I feel that we already have people over there doing that, And I'm not saying save your life and let them die, but it's kind of weird. And I don't know the journalist perspective on this, but it's kind of weird to me to call that brave. It's kind of more opportunistic than bravery. I
mean, I think it's sort of an interesting perspective to look at it. I think a lot of like in BoJack Horseman, nice. Where
good show.
I think it's in season 2 where Diane goes.
Diane's a girlfriend, almost kind of, but not really. Yeah.
Where she goes on like a crusade, pretty much, with some dude who's like trying to save people, like in Africa or something like that. And it's this whole idea of like, we're doing this for the good and things like like
but
that.
he has to have a camera crew following him the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So I'm sure there's always some kind of like underlying sort of opportunistic like take on this, because at the end of the day, the news is entertainment, and you have to like channels like CNN and things like that are doing everything they can to get viewers in.
Yeah, and the best way to get viewers is by putting the most horrendous stuff on the channels. You know, like the good news never makes the front page. It's always
you don't remember the kitty that got saved from the tree.
We just remember that shopping cart killer who they arrested the person. Did you see?
Oh, I didn't.
Oh
see.
my god, I can't believe I didn't send this to you. I fucking sent it to everybody except you, bro. What the fuck? It's not like we do a podcast.
God damn it, Frankie.
Oh shit! Like, god damn it. I guess I really blew an opportunity there. Anyway, stupid. They caught the person, a suspected person. I think they're very elder. I think they're around 70, 80 years old.
No way.
And it's a transgender woman, right? So the man who transitions to a woman, right? And oh my god, man, this person was walking around with. I'm trying to remember. You know, we'll definitely put it up in the supplementary and stuff, but they were walking around with like a leg, like a severed leg on their person, like, you know, on their bag or something. And they found the person and they found them in Brooklyn. The one they found in Brooklyn, the shopping cart, was all to do to this person. So now they're in questioning and all that stuff. But
holy shit!
Even when you look at the picture, it's fucking creepy as fuck, man.
Oh my god, it sounds creepy as hell.
Yeah, when I was reading the whole thing and not sending it to you,
god damn it! Just god damn it! I have nothing to say to that.
I don't. Just die right here. That's so funny, man. I can't believe I did not send that shit to you. We literally talked about it. Oh yeah, that person did that. So he, you know, it was entertaining for me. That's my own show of mine and Frankie. So yeah, so that was kind of my whole take on the whole matter. I get that there's both sides, and I don't really have like a very passionate take on it. It's just one of those things where I would love to have a bigger conversation about it, you know, with people who are journalists. And actually, a friend that we both know, Anthony, he sent me an article, and the article is really interesting because it essentially is saying we're gonna stop sending people over there to different like countries that are suffering or this and that, and we're gonna have, instead of foreign correspondents, we're gonna have English speaking journalists speak from their own countries so they can report it to us so we can prevent these deaths. So
just kind of like what you were saying before.
Exactly. And that article I have to get through more. It's very, very interesting. And it's in the New York Times. The headline is "The era of the foreign correspondent is over." That was the quote. Justin Smith on his media startup. So the former Bloomberg media CEO is offering new details on the venture he's starting with the journalist Ben Smith. They're not related.
Okay.
I mentioned that in the thing. So just to read a very quick thing, I'll even just read the first sentence. It says, "It will be named for a word that is the same in dozens of languages. It will recruit English-speaking journalists from countries like India and Singapore to cover the news. And according to its co-founder, the era of the foreign correspondent is over." Excuse me, I just. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And if you want to read that article, you either ask us for the link or just type in what I just said.
I mean, we'll just put in the supplementary even.
Absolutely. So, but it's just a very interesting thing to think about. And yeah, man. So now I want to talk about this guy. His name is Jamal Khashoggi, and he was a Saudi journalist.
Okay.
So this I forgot. Actually, I'll show you the year it came out. It's a very, very interesting article. I can't show you now because I'm on my phone. I have my laptop. But it was in 2010 or something, around the time. So a while back. Okay. He's a Saudi journalist.
Man, it's so weird to even say that, a while back, 2010.
Yeah, man. Honestly speaking, old as fuck right now. He was a journalist who covered the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and the rise of Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden. Okay. So he was an advisor to the government and close to the Saudi royal family, right? And eventually he self-exiled himself from, Saudi Arabia and in Turkey, and he came to the U.S. and started writing for the Washington Post, right? and he criticized the policies of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And he had feared about being arrested by the prince that he's talking about, because he's basically just talking mad shit about him. And the prince is like, yo, stop talking shit about me. And he's like, no, I'm going to talk shit about you because you treat people bad, you know?
Yeah.
To put it into simple layman's terms.
Nice.
And essentially he had gone to Istanbul, Turkey. Turkey is where he felt he was really safe. Okay. It was in Saudi Arabia, but in Turkey, he went to a Saudi consulate. What that is essentially just to figure out some paperwork so he could divorce his wife. so
what the fuck?
So he was willing to risk it all to, you know, get away from that woman.
Damn.
He went there September 28th, 2010, and he had to return October 2nd. I really don't have the year right here, but essentially he thought he could get it done in that one time, but he had to come back. So it's interesting. So, you know, he thought at first in and out, but when he came back, it was October 2nd, right? Again, he felt Turkey was somewhere he was safe and not in danger. Now, he entered the building on October 2nd at around like 1:43 p.m. and he never came out.
Okay.
He was reported dead the following day. He told the person that he was with, he gave them 2 phones and told them to wait for him to come out. And until he does, you know, either suspect something or call somebody or he'll call them.
Mm-hmm.
Prince Mohammed, who he feared was going to arrest him, he said that he left shortly or before Jamal, the journalist, was there, and that he had nothing to hide in terms of the whole situation. Later on October, Prince, not the singer too, rest in peace. So later on, 18 days later, on October 20th, the Saudi government reported that Jamal had died fighting back people that were trying to take him back to Saudi Arabia, and that the cause of death was a chokehold. So some WWE shit right there. The great Khali, shout out to UFC, Dana White. But
I hope the visual just got like how like thrown off I was with that.
Yeah, man, it's hardcore real news, bro. There. And now,
I love it when they say that on CNN. That's some WWE shit right there.
Dana White. So the Saudi consulate at first, the place he went to, you know, file the paperwork, they said, you know, as an organization, they were like, oh, he signed the papers and he left right afterwards. Well, apparently somebody had been waiting for Jamal outside the consulate. Oh no, the person waiting outside that had been waiting for him outside was the person that he told to wait for him. And she waited 10 hours, so loyal.
Yeah.
And essentially it just gets really, really weird later on, because the task force that apparently killed him only goes forward with their commands if the prince were to tell them to do that. So, you know, like nobody else is going to kill this motherfucker unless the prince is like, kill that motherfucker, you know? And it gets really, really fishy. So when they when they questioned the 5 people that murdered, like they confessed to the murder of Shalom, they said the prince had nothing to do with it. He had no knowledge about it. Yeah, right. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just like it's not adding up. It's not adding up. Prince,
I don't
Biden.
know.
Dude, you know about this.
Why you gotta bring Sleepy Joe into this? What do you do? He's sleeping, man.
He's just raising gas prices. He's sleeping, man. Come on, man. That's what he says all the time. Come on, man. Come on. Facing the wrong way. So to wrap up that story, but also put it in brief. And when I wasn't even reading the news heavily when this came out. When this story came out, I was like, well, what is happening with this journalist and this prince, right? It sounds like a fucking Disney movie.
I don't know what fucked up Disney movies you're watching, man. God damn.
I'm trying to think, man. But I'm trying to throw Aladdin in there, but I don't know if that makes sense. A lion. He's a lion.
Oh, God.
I thought it was gonna be way funnier than it actually was.
I just thought about how there's a whole this is a b-hole real quick, but there's a whole like so Batman v Superman has an ultimate cut which adds an extra 30 minutes to it.
Nice.
The extra 30 minutes to it just adds a whole Lois Lane side plot that just shows how she ends up from point A to point B in the movie.
No way.
And
she's on the train.
And, like it's just it. Like it starts off with like this whole reporter thing where she finds out that murders have happened in war. And people trying to blame it on Superman, and that's just like the whole like
30 minutes,
like 30 minutes that just gets like squeezed in here and there throughout the Ultimate kind. It's just kind of like okay.
It's like I wish I didn't see this.
It's like I didn't need that.
I forgot that the what's it called? Batman and Superman was a thing. Batman versus Superman, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's a little spoiler, but fuck you. in the Batman movie, right, where he goes to the roof with the batter ring, is that what it's called, or was it
like the bat grapple?
The bat grapple. I don't know if I just saw this wrong or whatever, but when he was going upwards through every floor, it looked like it was a Superman shape.
Oh
yeah,
I didn't know. I mean, I've only seen it once. Yeah,
so I mean,
you would have a better idea than I.
When I go see it again, I'm gonna check that and the Robin reference. That I don't think is a Robin reference, but we're getting off topic. So yeah, like when it comes down to this certain reporter, the Jamal Khashoggi, he clearly understood the dangers that he was in the whole time.
Yeah,
you know, but he was surrounded by these people, the Saudi family, the government, and all that stuff. And when he was in the U.S., I guess it was a safer choice for him. You know, but still, I still think that this is definitely a different situation from the ones recently in Ukraine. I just still feel very on the fence, I would say.
It'd be so crazy if there was something like this happening today. If like someone had to go have like a meeting with like Putin or something and just never left,
or even Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
In that interview movie, they said that, you know, what's the basketball player that's really cool with him? I think Dennis Rodman.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know, but Dennis Rodman is a basketball player for the Chicago Bulls, right? Chicago Bulls.
Didn't know.
And he's a crazy motherfucker. Very, very weird. I think he married himself.
What the fuck?
Yeah, super odd. He changed his hair color to different things. He's a very extravagant personality, you know?
Okay.
But for some reason, Kim Jong-un loves this motherfucker. So he gets to go over there and hang out with him. And there's pictures of them together, just chilling.
That's so fucking bizarre. Can we have that in the supplementary?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was, you know, the plot of the interview is saying, oh, Kim Jong-un, this is all fake, but Kim Jong-un loves the, you know, host of a show that's made up in America. Let's have the host interview him, and while they're together, assassinate him. So imagine that was a plan they did with Dennis Rodman to assassinate Kim Jong-un, but how much in danger you'd be doing that, you know? And I don't know. Again, that doesn't equate as much. I think all these stories, especially the interview one, is different bases, but just stepping into foreign land for a reason that isn't like super obligatory.
Yeah.
I think there's some thinking to do about that whole situation. And is Fox gonna be under fire, or are they responsible for this? You know, is anybody responsible except the people who are there?
I mean, I'm sure you like. I mean, I would just say the responsibility definitely falls down to you. I mean, like, because I know that like for editors and things like that, it's sort of their job to be like, no, you need to stop pursuing this story or things like that, or whatever the case is. Like, you always have someone to report to. And so if you're not listening to the people that are telling you to stop like pursuing things, and like if that leads to your demise, and it's like there is responsibility on more so your part, but it is fair to consider that a lot of the times that we don't know how often editors maybe are pushing to keep moving for the story, and maybe the reporters don't feel comfortable with that, but it's their job. It's like literally their job.
They signed up for it, you know.
Yeah,
and that part I do get. If you're just truly passionate, and just like a boxer who boxes in the boxing ring, you know, somebody could die in the ring. I more so than ever now, just after watching boxing so many times, there's been at least 3 or 4 deaths that I've seen, not like live, but they were like, oh, these 2 people are going to fight next. And then the following week, they say, oh, no, there was a Mexican boxer who died recently. She was very young. There's one that was, I think, Turkish or something. And you'd think that this only happens like once in a while, but it was so frequent. And I would for sure say that in the past 5 years, from what I know, there's been 5 major deaths in like pro boxing.
Wow.
And this is not like in the movies where they die on the spot, or like it's very sad situations where they get carried out on the gurney. Now that I know what it's called, the gurney. And they just comatose and they just die after a couple of days.
Damn.
And it's sad because you see them at their peak physique form you know. And this is a really sad story that I don't think you know about, and I don't know the name of him, but it's a very trendy story to share in boxing. One big thing you're not supposed to do in boxing is hit somebody behind the head. It's a very sensitive area. So just when you're boxing somebody and you're punching them behind the head, you can cause brain damage like that.
Interesting.
It's very terrible. So who's there to stop that from happening are the referees. So when you know somebody leans forward, I know you can't see on the audio, on the visual, like, and then you come in for a punch and you hit me behind the ear. The more you do that, the more you can just get knocked out quicker. But then that's how you end up dying. So this is very sad story of this boxer. I wish I knew his name, but you as a viewer probably heard of this, but I'll show you later on. They just showed this montage of him coming out for the weigh-ins, you know, his shirt off. He's in, again, top physique form. He's smiling. He's boxing. But the whole match is getting hit behind the head. So much, and the ref's not calling it. And eventually he gets knocked out. He loses the match.
Wow.
He didn't die. Now he's brain damaged to the point where he can't speak correctly. He has to sit in a chair his whole life. He mumbles when he talks. His hands are uncoordinated. It's like, thinking about it now, it's super fucking sad, you know? And it comes down, and it's not even the fault of the opposite boxer. I mean, out of respect and wisdom in the corner of that boxer, they probably should have told him, but that referee is to be blamed for that, you know? And again, like, you risk your life fighting in the ring or the octagon or whatever you choose to do, you know? So I guess that coinciding with this, there is a kind of a same basis. You know, you're doing what you love, and because you love it, you're willing to risk it. But it's just still very much, to me, is a very interesting topic, you know?
No, without a doubt. There's a great movie called City of God. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's considered like one of those sort of like film classics. And it just shows about like all the gang stuff in Brazil, like back in the day during the 80s and stuff, and it's just so bad.
Oh man, I believe it. Like the favelas and shit like that.
Yeah. And there's like a whole thing where there's like a whole thread in the movie where there's a reporter who's just getting closer and closer to all the gang stuff that's happening in the movie. And it does a great job of like really portraying like how dangerous it is to report on things like this, and just how dangerous it is out there too. But oh man, great movie.
We're almost spoon fed here in this country, and I do say a lot, but I do think that America is a big bubble we get to play in. You know, I'm not saying that it's easiest here for everybody, because, you know, there's some people who get dealt a shitty hand in life, and it just continues to deal with that to them. But I do think there are a lot of opportunities to do in this country that off the rip in third world countries and stuff like that, it's just unfair from the ground up. You know, from the second year birth, it's just I went to Dominican Republic, right? Nice. And it was really nice. Went to Havoc, that shit was fun. And right as I was outside, we were at the doctor's because my friend had to go, right? His family was a doctor there. But I had my hand on the car, and his mother had closed the car on my hand. So that shit hurt like a bitch. that shit hurt like a bitch. And it kind of got this like cut on my hand. It wasn't, you know, terrible. Like I was in pain, but I wasn't like in, Yeah. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't tell your mom." And I was like, "No, I'm good. I really felt like I was fine. It was just bleeding a lot. So we had to, luckily we were right in front of the doctors. Yeah. So instead of just being there waiting for him to get checked and all stuff, I got to go, get like doctor care in DR. It was very interesting because thankfully it wasn't like a surgery or anything. Not that they wouldn't be better, don't disrespect the DR. But immediately I got to look inside of one of the rooms for the patients, and a lot of their let's say ointments or creams, they were actually in like Johnson & Johnson bottles, like recycled. It was not that it was like a shit show. It was perfectly fine in there. But there was a couple things that, you would never see this in the United States,
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, I actually did get surgery in DR.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really like remember too much of it because it's pretty recessed.
They just hit you in the head. He's out. Cut him over. Hurry up.
I remember that they couldn't put anesthesia on me because I had to get I forget how many stitches, but I got a huge gaping hole in my leg. Jesus and Christ. They had to stitch it up, and I had that shit done in DR,
They
and
just IV'd you some Presidentes.
oh my god, dude, it hurts so much. I just remember screaming.
Wait, so you felt all the opening of the all the stitches?
Yeah, I felt the stitches.
Oh man, that shit must suck ass.
I just had to like, my mom and my uncle were just holding down my arms.
You on your Passion of the Christ?
I honestly, that's exactly what I was doing, and they were just holding me down, and I'm just fucking screaming for my life. It hurt so bad.
Holy shit, man, that's scary as fuck. And then the doctor was wearing a spooky mask just to make it worse.
I was under the age of 10. I was like 7 years old or something like that. I was pretty young when it happened.
I wonder if they would have anesthetized you, right? That's how you say it. Here in the States, do you think they would have done it here? Or maybe it would just...
Definitely. Yeah.
They're like, let's just save it for the next person. Yeah, it's a whole experience, but I was very grateful for that because it makes me more appreciative. And again, not to knock down what they're doing over there, because you do what you can with what you have wherever you are. You know, that's just straight up how it is.
MacGyver.
Very funny. I have a funny story with Dominicans and the word MacGyver.
How did we end up here?
I was playing pool, and I love playing pool. Anybody want to play pool with me? If I know you, hit me up. If I don't, hit me up. And I was playing, and it's like, you know, when you're trying to play something that takes focus, and every time you're about to hit the ball, I was just like that. And then the Dominicans next to me, yeah, MacGyver. And I was like, MacGyver. And I never hated MacGyver so fucking much in my whole fucking life. It's like they knew. As soon as, it's like when you're about to tee off on golf, and never play golf, but if you were about to, when you swing it back, and as soon as you go, MacGyver, you just fuck up everything. It's like that Jackass movie. I don't know if you ever seen the Jackass movie where they sound off the blowhorn when they're about to play golf. So funny. If you haven't seen it, just YouTube blowhorn golf Jackass. You're welcome.
I recently played Wii golf with my brother and my cousin last weekend.
How was that?
It was awesome.
Nice. Happy things. Happy things on earth, mind and matter. Yeah, man, I don't know. Out of the beehole now.
Yeah. Let's climb out of the beehole.
I got a story with Dominicans and MacGyver and Wii Sports. So now we're at the third topic. It's been a good episode, Javi. It's been a good episode.
You know, and real quick, we just referenced two things so out of date: MacGyver and the Wii.
And Social Security.
And Social Security.
Man, what kind of episode is that? Throwback episode. TBT.
This is December 2021.
Facts. He knew it all along. That's funny as shit. Oh man. Shout out to our table.
This table's a good table.
Man, we gotta upload some pictures on this table because for those that are listening, I have no idea what the fuck we're pointing at. We made this table. We didn't create the table. You know, it came from...
We made this table from scratch.
From scratch, we designed this table. I think that's the better way to put it. And it's just a cool table, man. So it's been with us for 10 whole episodes.
10 whole episodes.
Yeah, man. And counting.
And 3 test episodes on top of that.
Let's fucking go. Yeah, man. Holy shit.
Actually, one of our test episodes is one of our official episodes.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 test episodes.
Jesus Christ. And now we're up to our third section of news, which I think is a very interesting section.
Okay.
So
I really felt that.
I will take that burp. So I wanted to talk about, again, Russell Westbrook. Do you know, you have any knowledge on who that is?
I've heard of him. That's it.
So he's enough of a name, like he's almost become a household name, like a LeBron James or I would say Kanye West, like a Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, all that stuff. And he's an important part of the NBA. But long story short, he's playing terribly. Even before the story, I was watching the Lakers play. And I mean, I really don't care who wins. I mean, I'll bet some money. So LeBron had 50 points today. And then I see Russell Westbrook play. And it's just every opportunity he got on all ranges. Even if you don't watch basketball. If you know what a 2-pointer is or a 3-pointer is or a layup, just know that he went for every single one of those open as fuck and missed them all. So if you don't know shit about sports or don't care, don't worry.
Maybe someone was yelling MacGyver.
Probably. It's those Dominicans. It's the surgeon. Fucking. So he just playing terrible. And I was like, damn, bro. Like I was telling Beatrice that I was like, yo, this motherfucker sucks. Like he's playing like ass. And But the thing is that this whole season.
So real quick, did he used to be good?
Yo, I mean, I always thought that he shot too much without kind of going too down basketball lane and talk. But he's a good player. Like he definitely has his strong parts to him that can make him a true all-star or important aspect to a team. But just to put it into perspective, we're pretty into the NBA season now, as of now. And today is actually March 18th, 2022.
December, Frankie.
And from the 3-point line, he's only shooting 9%. So out of all the 3-pointers that he shot, 9% in the winning, which is absolutely goddamn.
I think I could do better.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody could do better. People with no arms could do better. I think so. I think they actually can look because science is getting crazy. So just based off those little facts, put it in short, Russell Westbrook is playing bad. Okay. Playing really bad. And he's playing with LeBron James, which is the best player in the NBA. Some people think.
And what team are they on together?
The Lakers.
The Lakers.
So it's him, LeBron, Carmelo Anthony. But again, this is not more so about how they're doing as a team. But he's been getting death threats. Him and his family have been getting death threats.
His family too? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Because he's playing so bad.
Shit.
Now that's fucking ridiculous. Remember when we were talking about like DraftKings, how when somebody gets injured and the fans would cheer, they were like, yeah, just not even because they put money on the game. Not that it justifies it either way, but just because now their team's gonna win. It's just disgusting. And how we talked about how Carmelo Anthony, the guy was yelling at him and saying like, "Hey, shoot the ball, boy! Like, come on, do this, boy!" And I know that story is back and forth now, but even then, it's just something you shouldn't be doing to players, and players are getting more and more fed up. So he had a press conference, and essentially because of his struggling season, they were asking him a lot of questions like, how do you feel about all this stuff? And how he's basically responding is saying, it's just a game. In basketball, I don't mind the criticism, but the moment it comes to my name getting shamed, it's an issue. He had gone to a parent-teacher conference, and his son, the teacher told Russell Westbrook that his son is so proud of his last name. Like he'll write his last name everywhere. His little boy will write Westbrook everywhere and say, "I'm so happy to be a Westbrook and daddy and this and that." So, I mean, he loves that his son loves his name, and he said, "I'm gonna address this and nip it in the bud right now." He says, "This is the shaming of my name right now because instead of calling him Westbrook, people are calling him Westbrick. Like, oh, he bricked the shot and everything." And not only are the fans doing it, because once the media starts saying it, which they do a lot, there's this reporter, his name is Skip Bayless, and he's the one that continues to push that name on him too. Okay. So I get it. Like, it's just a nickname, but it's come to a point now that he doesn't even bring his kids to the game no more or his family because he doesn't want those fans to start calling him names and shaming him. And I mean, there'll be times where he'll be on the field, on the court, and just people are booing him, That
sucks.
It sucks because, again, like he says, this is just a game, and more importantly, like the fact that he's getting death threats and all that stuff. I mean, he says, this is the shaming of my name, of my character, of who I am as a person. And it hasn't been warranted. All I've done is played basketball. I'm not hurting anyone personally. It's just in game, not my entire life, And when I read that, which is a video, when I saw the video, and his wife responded very appropriately, I just figured I wanted to talk about a couple of things in sports where it gets out of hand, leading to either the death or the danger of people who are, again, just playing a game. Yeah. I always have this kind of discussion with people where people are like, teachers should get paid more than athletes. And I'm like, you ever seen a teacher dunk? Shut the fuck up. No,
are you taller than a fifth grader?
Can you fucking alley hoop and shit like that and make it to the All-Star game? Nah, that's a whole different conversation to have. I do think that athletes work their ass off and shouldn't get undermined. But teachers do a great job. They're also shitty teachers. That's a conversation we can have for the future. What do you think? What do you think? You think teachers should get paid more?
I mean, in general, I think teachers should get paid more. I do.
Paid more in general, yeah.
Should they get paid more than athletes? I don't know. I I feel like that's such incomparable work,
bro. But people are comparing it like a motherfucker. It was a thing.
Their problem.
Yeah, man. It used to be a big like thing people were saying, and I'm like, yeah, stupid. But if you're a teacher, you're stupid. Nah, okay.
Yeah, my aunt's a teacher.
Oh, but she's not stupid. She's just underpaid.
She's doing pretty well for herself, actually.
Nah. A good movie revolving pension, teaching, and all that stuff, and Judaism. A Serious Man.
A Serious Man. I've heard of that movie.
I love that movie. Again, it's very boring to get into, but I love that movie. Just gonna throw it out there. So yeah, I want to talk about more. I don't know if you've ever heard about this, but the defender who was killed by Pablo Escobar for scoring an own goal on his own team in soccer.
No.
You've never heard about this?
I don't think so.
Nice. Okay, so most people have. That's why I was, I'm surprised you don't. So during Pablo Escobar's regime of, cocaine and death, which was in the 80s and 90s, I mean, up to a point, Escobar was worth up to $50 billion. God damn. And,
not trillion, though.
Not trillion. He loved soccer. He loved soccer. And I put this in just for you. There's a player, a goalkeeper. His name is Iquita, something like that.
Okay.
I didn't look up his phone name. And he came up on a field that was built through Escobar's finances. There was a section of Escobar's life where he paid for people, like he was building houses and community centers for people, using drug money, but it was kind of doing more than the politicians were doing. That was kind of his whole, spiel, Robin Hood.
Yeah.
So he was for the kids.
For the kids.
For the kids.
For the kids.
I just had to hear. And one of the more important things about why he was so involved in soccer was because it was great for money laundering.
Okay.
So it's the perfect tool to launder money. And I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. He either owned, I think he owned the Independiente Medellin, which is the soccer team in Colombia, or he was heavily associated with them.
Okay.
So we'll correct that in the supplementary, but he basically was around soccer while drug dealing and all that stuff, right?
And definitely had a huge hand in it.
Huge hand. And there's talks about one time he went up to a ref before a very important game, and he didn't say nothing threatening to him. He just says, just make sure you ref good out there. That's all he said to him. And it was, it was like, however the ref was based off how he responded. I mean, imagine Pablo Escobar comes up to you and he's like, you better do a good job out there. And you're like, oh my God, whatever I do, I'm dying. So
yeah,
like, God damn it. Like, you just didn't have to say it to me, man.
It's like the second he's even walking up to me, I'm just like, yep, and I'm dead. That's it. Yep.
Just walk away, just stomping like, oh, God damn it. And so on June 22nd, 1994, there was a soccer player called Andres Escobar, right?
Okay.
And what happened to him is that he had scored an own goal playing against the U.S. in the World Cup. For those that don't know what an own goal is when you score a goal on your own side of the soccer field.
Sounds pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, some people just need it, The U.S. ended up beating Colombia that game 2-1.
Okay.
In the following games, because it goes in just like ranks, Colombia did end up winning, but because of the scores in the previous game with the U.S., they were eliminated essentially because the goals didn't add up for their favor.
Okay.
So because of this own goal, the Colombia got kicked out of the World Cup, which of course Pablo Escobar was like, "Fuck,"
Yeah.
So he was being heavily ridiculed, and he actually put out a statement following because a lot of the fans were telling him, "You need to lay low."
Oh my God,
man,
that's so scary.
Oh my God, and he kind of felt like he's like, "What do I do in this situation?" But his statement was exactly this, and it's said to be one of the most chilling statements in like, sports. It says, "Quote: Life doesn't end here. We have to go on. Life cannot end here. No matter how difficult, we must stand back up. We only have two options. Either allow anger to paralyze us and the violence continues, or we overcome and try our best to help others. It's our choice. Let us please maintain respect. My warmest regards to everyone. It's been a most amazing and rare experience. We'll see each other again soon because life does not end here."
Wow.
He was nicknamed the Gentleman of the Field and was murdered on July 2nd, 1994.
Man.
So that's a couple. So he scored an own goal June 22nd, and on July 2nd, he was murdered. That's only like 10 days, right?
That's brutal.
He had been out drinking the night before with his friends in Pablo Escobar's hometown of Medellin, right? An altercation occurred, and he was shot 6 times and left for dead after an argument broke out about the goal. The man who confessed to the murder, his name was Humberto Castro Munoz. He got 43 years for murdering Escobar, not Pablo, Andres, but he only served 11 years.
Okay.
And at the funeral of Andres Escobar, 120,000 people attended his funeral.
Oh, wow.
And a statue of him was put up in 2002 to commemorate his life.
Wow.
So, of course, that's beautiful and stuff. It just sucks that he had to die because of that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most famous stories with Pablo Escobar and how powerful he was. Because, this could have been just 6 people that killed him and some of that, but it's very famously recalled that Pablo Escobar was the one that put out that hit. And when you watch the video, which we'll definitely put up in the supplementary because it's just cool throwback footage.
Throwback episode.
Yes, we're back in time. Pablo Escobar walks in. Hey, oh, stop killing people. We die. Like fuck. Damn. Okay, pick one. I'm gonna give you 2 names. Okay.
Okay.
Steve or Marcelo.
Let's start with Marcelo.
Oh shit. Okay. Nice, because I got 2 more for this little topic. This is a pretty short one. Very interesting. So this guy was a coach for a team called the New Old Boys. It's actually where Messi got his start.
All right.
In soccer. You know Messi.
Yeah.
He's pretty all right. Not better than Ronaldo.
Oh, I don't get it.
Never mind. Anyway, it doesn't even matter. But Marcelo Bielsa, right? He was a coach for that team, and he was one of those real hard coaches. Actually, shout out to Brian for putting me onto this story. Your enemy, my friend.
Yeah, I asked him if he wanted to hang out with us today. He said no. That I can't stand him, man.
It's enemy vibes right there, man. Enemy vibes.
I'm trying to be nice to him. Fuck.
You should do what Marcelo Bielsa did. And you know what he did, bro?
What did he do? So
he was a very, very tough coach. And the way Brian put this, which is I think was really good, he said he was one of those coaches where he will be like, well, they'll probably beat us, but they're not going to outrun us. We're going to be more trained than they are, more tougher, more, everything.
Okay.
Even if they beat us, they won't outdo us, And because he wasn't producing the wins that were expected of him, he started to get harassed by his fans, a bunch of his fans. So about 20 plus, but mostly around 20, they went to his house, they harassed him, they bothered him, they threw stones at his house.
Man.
And Marcelo came out. He came out, and guess what he had in his hand?
A stone.
A grenade.
A grenade?
A grenade, man.
Oh my God.
He came out with the grenade, and he was in his pajamas. And
why did I picture that? That's exactly what I pictured. Him in his pajamas.
I envisioned Scarface for some reason. You want to do that to me?
Pretty good.
Thank you. And he comes out with a grenade, and how Brian told me the story, I read it differently, but I don't know exactly. I guess it's one of those rumors and stuff. But he said, I'm going to take out the pin on this grenade right now. Some say that he did take out the pin before, because he could put it back. And he said, I'm going to kill everybody here right now if you guys don't get out of my house. And immediately all the people that were there just... Yeah, man. And who can blame him, It's one of those things where it's like you're literally harassing a person. When is that ever okay?
It's a metaphor.
Kind of, yeah.
Like the grenade is a metaphor for harassing people.
Yeah.
It's like you always have your hand on the pin.
Yeah, man. And who's to say he's in the wrong? Crazy motherfucker for doing that shit, But I just thought when I heard that, I was like, no way this is true. And if you Google, even if you just Google Marcelo Bielsa grenade, it'll be the first story that pops up. But click the second one because the first one you gotta do a trial. You don't gotta pay for news, man. It's everywhere. But super badass of him and just crazy. I mean, things could have got wrong. He could have blown up his actual home and all that stuff. But I guess when you get fed up and I'm hoping that's not what happens with Russell Westbrook and all these other players, because there could be an opposite side to that when it comes to like self-injury or suicide or stuff like that.
I want to know how he got that grenade.
Yo, facts.
Where'd that grenade come from?
Who brought this motherfucking grenade? Being that he's so easy willing to use it, bro.
Like he must have had that sitting on the shelf somewhere. Like that, just one day he was like, "That's it. I've had enough.
Give me the box." But no, give me the box. No. That's fucking hilarious, man. And so I thought that's just a quick little story. I just wanted to end there because I thought that was super interesting. But I'm kind of happy to introduce Steve first, because this is this is one of my favorite stories, and it's again, this has to do with sports. I think with sports, if you're not interested in the actual like playing of it or winning or whatever, I think there's lessons to be learned all around sports. And this is a crazy story of a man named Steve Bartman.
Steve Bartman.
Oh man, I just want to preface this. I'm gonna say it again later on. If you go on YouTube, you can watch this whole documentary for free. It's a 30 for 30 Steve Bartman. It's a great documentary. It was very well done, and let me just get into it. So on October 14th, 2003. 19 years ago, bro. Fuck. There was
you know who was born in 2003?
Ooh.
My brother.
Oh shit. Yeah, shout out to your brother. Luke is the best photographer I know, man. I swear to God. That's awesome though. Maybe he's Steve Martin. So on that day, October 14th, October is mainly playoffs for baseball. Like September and October, that's when it starts going into like closer to the World Series. And this game was between the Chicago Cubs and the Florida Marlins, right?
Okay.
It was the NLCS, which is the National League Champions. Essentially, whoever wins this faces the winner of the American League Champions in the World Series. So it's like the World Series before the World Series, to put it, the Cubs, to win this series, you have to win 4 out of 7 games, right? And the Cubs are up 3-0 in terms of games.
All right.
So if they win this game, they go to the World Series and all that stuff. Now, there's a guy sitting on left field. For those that don't know baseball, he's sitting on the left side of the field.
I was like, what the fuck are you going to say? Like, honestly.
Gotta be really specific, because baseball, not the most. It's like the jazz of sports. It's not that entertaining. Well, I love that shit. He was sitting on left side of the field, and we all know when the ball goes over the thing, it's a home run, right? Mm-hmm. But if it goes over on the left side, it's a foul ball, right? So he's sitting there. He has his earphones in. It's a crowded stadium. It's a bunch of people going crazy. It's 2003, so I don't know what that means. And he's sitting there with his earphones on. Some speculate that he was listening to the game on his earphones. A lot of people love to do that. I even actually think that's pretty cool, and I would love to do it in the future. Just listen to baseball games, because there's something so classic about it. This is just because, but in the supplementary, I want to throw up a specific sport announcer and how he does his job. And you can see him calling out a play live, while it's happening, and you can see the passion spew out of him as he calls. It's incredible. It's super incredible, and sport announcers really love their job.
Oh my God! And he's going in for second base, and he's going in for side, and he's just right there.
It's I'm exactly like that, and it's incredible. So back to Steve Bartman. So he's sitting over there. He's wearing like a turtleneck. He's wearing a turtleneck, and he has glasses on. He kind of just looks like an average Joe. Right?
Okay.
And now, before the game has been going on, the Cubs, who he's rooting for, have been playing all right. They've been basically missing a lot of plays, not doing so good.
Okay.
And there's a point where the batter who's batting for the Marlins hits the ball near Steve Bartman's section. Right?
All right.
The ball was going into the foul area, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But the Cubs player, could have caught it, had an out, and it would have been one inning closer to the end of the game. What I'm trying to say is that Steve Bartman got in the way of that ball.
Okay.
He caught the ball instead of letting the Cubs player catch it.
Oh,
if that makes any sense.
I thought you were gonna say he got hit by the
ball.
Oh
no.
I was really waiting for a death. I was like, oh my God.
No, that would have been crazy. But actually, this would have. Well, it's not worse than him dying, but it gets crazy. So he leans over, because when you go to a baseball game, everybody wants to catch a foul ball. Now, I would love to catch a foul ball. I've only caught like batting practice balls, and it's still really fun.
Nice.
So he leaned over to catch the ball that was still in play, and he disallowed an out for the Cubs, meaning that he prolonged the inning for the Marlins. I know this sounds very sporty. I was trying not to make it sound like that. He basically fucked the Cubs over on that play.
Yeah.
Unknowingly though, because he didn't know. He was just looking up. He's listening to the game. He's not even watching it. He's kind of more just there. Wrong place, wrong time. So the Cub player gets mad at him and starts screaming at him. It's like if an athlete starts screaming at you like, come on, man, like, you fucked it up for me. Like, he's yelling at him like that so aggressively. And Steve Bartman's kind of just like, whoa, like, what the fuck, man? Like, I just deal with what people do at these games, which is essentially just partake if they're able to, which is a very rare. And now everybody starts getting upset at Steve Bartman. They start getting really fucking mad at him to the point where they had to escort him out the stadium because people were throwing beer at him. People were like throwing shit at him. Man. Bro, and when you see his face, like I just feel so terrible just thinking about it. So everybody now the reason I bring up that they were playing bad earlier is that he's essentially was a big scapegoat for the whole situation.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, man. It wasn't that one play that fucked him up. And I even get chills thinking about this story because it wasn't that play that fucked them up because in the following inning, the Cubs just played terribly. And they ended up losing the whole series and never going to a World Series. So they kind of said that he was the reason for all that.
Wow.
To preface this even more, there's like a curse for the Cubs that involves like a goat. And they couldn't win the World Series for like 100 years because of that curse. Huh. Yeah, it's super silly when it comes to sports like that. They did win the World Series recently. Steve Bartman's name is shamed. Who is this guy? Who's the guy with the glasses? Who's this and that? He was getting harassed. He had to quit his job. He had to relocate his house and go to a secret location.
Wow.
And he was a youth coach for baseball for kids. For the kids.
For the kids.
And he had to quit that and he couldn't partake in that no more because he was being harassed so much.
Shit.
He stayed out the media's sight for a long time. And essentially Chicago just hated this guy. And he put out a statement within 24 hours of the whole situation. And what did he say? He said, there are a few words to describe how awful I feel and whatever I experienced within the last 24 hours. And mind you, he was there to support his team.
Yeah.
He wasn't there as anything else except just to support. He was
just there as a fan.
Bro.
Oh, man.
And later on, the Cubs tried to apologize to him. This I didn't look up just because fuck the Cubs for, not even trying to help this poor man, They I forget exactly what they did, and this will look up and put it in. But it wasn't the right way to apologize to him. How could you apologize to a guy whose life you basically ruined?
Yeah.
And it wasn't the Cubs that did it, but then the news reporters kept playing the clip.
Here's the man that ruined everything.
Yeah, exactly. and I'm just remembering now, that's one of the things they were saying. Like, why are you guys constantly playing the clips on the news? You're literally putting this guy's face out there to be shamed by other people. And he would get phone calls. It would just be terrible. Again, if you want to watch this documentary, go on YouTube. Steve Bartman, 30 for 30. Bartman spelled Bartman. It's an incredible documentary. Eventually, not too long ago, the ball itself that he caught that day, it was sold for $113,000. Oh, wow. And it was blown up. It was bought by a restaurant, and they blew it up, the ball.
What the fuck?
And it's now displaying at the Chicago Sports Museum. Very funny. And
wow, what a journey.
and at 2016, when the Cubs won the World Series, they gave Bartman a World Series ring as a gesture of apology. And he did take it. Mind you, I think it's kind of up to you to decide whether or not it mattered that he took the ring. I mean, you can't make up time for that. It's like sending somebody to prison for 50 years and you're like, whoops, wrong guy. Here's $10 million. And it's like, well, I'm going to die in 5 years. What good is that? He does say something that I wanted to read off real quick. And let's see.
No, I mean, just immediately, that's just so... that's just so wild. Like,
Yeah,
what
man.
the fuck? Like, he's just a fan that, like, I've wanted to try and catch a foul ball when I used to watch baseball and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's something people dream of doing.
Hell yeah, man. And this will put up when I show Javi, but this is how he looked like. So when you see his face, he really is just there, and that's a situation on the left side where he's like going in for the ball, and you can see other people are going for the ball as well.
Yeah.
So he just happened to be the one guy that was there to fuck it up, quote unquote, fuck it up for everybody, you know. So he says this later on. He had a lot to say after when he got the ring, but he says, "Although I do not consider myself worthy of such an honor, I am deeply moved and sincerely grateful to receive an official Chicago Cubs 2016 World Series championship ring. I am fully aware of the historical significance and appreciate the symbolism the ring represents on multiple levels. My family and I will cherish it for generations." You know? He also says, "Moreover, I am hopeful this ring gesture will be the start of an important healing and reconciliation process for all involved. To that end, I request the media please respect my privacy and the privacy of my family. I will not participate in interviews or further public statements at this time." And he says a whole bunch of shit, but I also just think that it's a crazy story because it just shows how ugly we get, and I think it kind of seeps into all these other topics of Russell Westbrook, the coach with the grenade, Marcelo. And then even the guy who got killed by Pablo Escobar, you know, like these things are, I mean, at the end of the day, we're literally doing these things to people because of a ball.
Yeah.
You know? And
like the only equivalent that I could think of that is just like, I don't know if you've seen like the video game industry and video game world of how like developers and people who work at companies get harassed all the time from like fans and stuff like that.
To change shit up in the games?
To change stuff up and things like that. Like, I don't know if you played The Last of Us.
Yeah, great game. Great fucking game.
I don't know if you played the second one.
I haven't.
The second one was immediately hated for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. I think the bar was set too high for the first one too. You know,
I like, this is a hot take.
Oh shit.
I like it, for anyone who's played both games. Yeah. I think the second one is good. I think that's it. Explosion. I think the second game
Javi has an opinion
is good. Right. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I think it does a great job of telling its own story and continues the overarching narrative in a natural way. Okay. It makes sense.
I mean, I just think the first one was so good story wise that, I mean, when it ended, I just didn't have a PS4 that came out on PS5?
The first one came out on PS3 and then the second one came out on PS4.
Okay, yeah. The first one was a pleasure. It was like an adventure, a book, and a movie all at the same time. It was such a good game. So
yeah, I mean, the reason why I bring it up because, like I said, a lot of people got the developers, Naughty Dog, got a lot of hate when the second game came out, and even besides the developers, or like the people coding and making the game themselves, but the actors that they got for the game were also getting harassed and getting death threats and things like that because there's a character, Abby, in the second game. She's just this really big girl, and immediately people were like, "Is she transgender?" Because women can't be that big, and this and that, and so
interesting.
So immediately there was a dialogue happening of that, and just people started harassing and sending death threats to the actor who played Abby.
That's terrible,
because
man.
They didn't agree with what happens in the game.
That's so, to me, that's so dumb because I feel like, when do you ever have a say in a game that comes out? That's why I thought it was Dangerous Waters with the Sonic and Teeth thing. Like, I know it was kind of hilarious, but I know for sure that they redid Mass Effect 3, right? The ending for it. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yes.
They redid it because the fans wanted a different ending. And I even think that's like Dangerous Waters to approach, because I do think there needs to be a separation between the creator and those who receive the creation, because I think there's so much opinions out there, especially with like video games. It's such a personal thing to have at home, where if you have a developer constantly listening to opinions that would make the game better, they would never finish the game.
Yeah.
And I think when they redid Sonic, I'm not saying it was a terrible move. I think it was smart for them to do that. But I also know in the future, somebody's going to do that to a movie that's going to come out, and they may just as well ruin a classic. You know, they may hinder the best from being out because somebody else said, nah, it'll be better this way, you know? And I think I would personally. That's why I don't kind of accept that change, because once you have it set in stone, I understand different things within the realm of people creating it with you or advice. But I think if you're a consumer and you have no knowledge of that, you know, if you've only played one Mass Effect game and this person has studied video games their whole life and you're telling them how to do their job, you know, at the end of the day, it's their job.
Yeah.
I know a lot. The Game of Thrones guy gets a lot of hate because he doesn't write the last
George
book.
R. Martin. Yeah, he gets a lot of hate because he hasn't finished the series.
Piece of shit. I know. One day we should do a Game of Thrones topic, or whatever, because I've never watched. You have?
Yes,
right? I've never watched Game of Thrones, man.
I've wanted to read it. It's just so hard to get into.
It looks like a long ass book, straight up.
And the first one is just like the first season, the first book.
You got to get into it, right?
Yeah, it's just really hard to get into because it's so much plot.
Yeah,
and it's just like it's so much setup, and you just have to. You kind of have to endure it for it to get better. Maybe
that's his plan, just to get a lot of new readers to come. I think you got to wait for new readers because it's not as easy as watching a show.
Yeah.
Right? But I hear the last season was ass.
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
Yeah. I don't think I've told this story. I've told you though for sure. So I'll tell the people, the kids.
For the kids!
The 3 for the kids. I'm hype. I went to a bar one time, right? And and fucking I was there and I walk in and everybody's like, shut the fuck up, everybody shut the fuck up. I try to make clicks on, I only have one glass. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? I was with Brian. And I've never seen this before. The whole bar was around, like, you know, the bar area. And all the lights were off. And all the TVs were playing the episode, like the third or penultimate episode of Game of Thrones. You like how I threw penultimate in there?
Yes.
I know words. For those that don't know what penultimate means.
I think I might know it wrongly, but is it the one before the last episode?
Oh, in general, it's anything second to last.
Second to
so
last.
this is my second to last drink. It's my penultimate drink. Vocabulary, phonics,
Sonic,
Christmas. All right, anyway, okay. So yeah, everybody's like, "Everybody, shut the fuck up!" I'm like, "What is happening?" And then they were like, "We're watching Game of Thrones." I was like, "What?" I didn't come in for Game of Thrones, but then I watched. And for those that don't know, there was an episode towards the end of Game of Thrones. Which, it's not a spoiler at all. It's just a really dark episode. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It's the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah, we had to spoil it. But it was so dark, and the lights were off, and it's a whole crowd of people. Well, just two things. One was like really cool to see a gathering of a show, because I'd never seen that. I know that probably happens a lot, but I don't think I would have seen that with any other show recently.
Yeah.
You know, that was so cool to see. Just everybody watching at the same time. And I'm just there like, fuck it, I guess I'll watch. And yeah, I just thought that Rejoice was fun. It was cool. It was different. And that's the cool thing about shows and movies and shit, that people really want to like stick and watch.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the last like TV show for me that was kind of like Game of Thrones, where it was just every week like people were just on that shit.
Yeah,
was The Mandalorian.
Oh man, I hear good things, but I never. Like I still have a long way to go.
If you didn't watch an episode the day it came out, it was bound to get spoiled for you somewhere on the internet.
Motherfuckers are haters, man.
People just would not wait, man. Because those episodes came out at like 4 a.m. And I remember seeing memes where it's like setting your 4 a.m. alarm for the fucking Mandalorian episode. It's like
it
ridiculous.
Came out on demand or like on a TV service or cable service?
It came on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
So, but they released it weekly. So kind of like cable.
It's very interesting how we live in the days of now that's in the release instead of before where you had to dead ass be there, and if you weren't, you had to wait another week, bitch, or something else. So cool, very cool. And yeah, man. So that's my topics for this week. You know,
yo, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this.
Nice. Yeah, I wanted to really get in a bunch of stuff that was in line with what's happening now. But I really am happy I got to talk about not only the Social Security thing, which I'm most happy to talk about for sure. I know it's, again, very
and I'll just say it again because it's just so interesting the second you brought it up, because I can pull it up in this notebook here of our original notes when we were talking about this show.
Yeah.
And how I remember you being so sad. You're like, I want to talk about financials somehow. Nice. I need to like bring that up.
Cool, man.
Like that needs to be like something important to the show. and it's just you did it.
That's cool. We'll put that in the supplementary. If you find it, we'll put it up. And even if it was just something verbal, I'm happy that you reminded me of that, because I think we could sneak that in there. You know, even if we're telling you, so it wouldn't be sneaking it in there. I think the most important part is to really, you know, have at least one person pick that information up and say like, hey man, like this stuff is interesting. You know, it's not like it wasn't. This shit is applicable and real. That's why I say it's interesting. Because if you could really, if you see that it affects you firsthand, you'll start to notice more and more. It's like your health, you know?
It's like everything has to do with everything.
Too real. Dead ass. And yeah, man, Jesus Christ, I can't believe we got through all the information. I feel like I do all this research, and after we're done, it's all garbage. Like, what am I doing with this? Nah, but it's there in the vault.
Keep it. It's in the vault.
Facts. Put a book out of other people's news and shit. But yeah, that's pretty much my news for now. And
I love how you're just kind of like, yeah. That's the news. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Just took the words and actions out of my mouth. I'm just trying to prolong this hobby so we don't get to the end, because we're at the AMC section. I'm excited, but goddamn, we only shoot these once a week. But we are now at the AMC section. Albums, movies, and comics, and all that good stuff. And what are we talking about today, Javi?
So we're on the album section.
Yep.
Last week, if you didn't catch last episode, we were on comics. We talked about The Sandman by Neil Gaiman.
Great fucking read.
It was a great read.
Oh my god.
And it was a great episode.
Hell yeah.
But now this episode, we're on albums again, full circle.
Hell yeah. And what are we talking about now?
We are talking very special album. We're talking about the 30th anniversary edition of Nirvana's Nevermind.
Woo! What a fucking great listen. And I'm sure all you motherfuckers have heard at least 5 songs on this album.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it's everywhere, and if you know anything about any music, this is a part of that little area of knowing everything, you know? So
oh yeah.
I'm just hyped we're talking about it. It was an easy pick because you can't go wrong with this, right?
Yeah. Tell me why you picked it, because I love your text about it.
Man, the Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. That's a spoiler for whoever hasn't watched the Batman. Something
it's not even much of a spoiler because I use it in the trailer.
Oh shit, okay, cool. And the more I researched, Kurt Cobain, and I mainly researched him, not really the other members, to be quite honest with you. And I felt that what a fitting movie to add his music to. Nirvana's music overall, but his, presence, because it kind of fit in the more you kind of pieced everything together, especially his childhood coming up. So yeah, man, I got some background information here, so we'll talk about that before we start into the album, the track list, and all that stuff. But essentially, the album came out September 24th, 1991, right?
1991.
And 2021 was actually the 30th year anniversary for the album, but it has since until now sold over 30 million copies and is number 1 on Billboard 200 chart from January 1992 for the next 540 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So that's 10 years and 4 months being on the Billboard 200 chart. So a little bit of time. The first year it was eligible to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which was 2014.
Okay.
And when Nevermind was released, Kurt Cobain was 24 years old.
Oh wow,
that's fucking young. It's the same age as the Ukrainian journalist that died, which is not a bummer and shit. But
that is full circle of life right there.
And when he was recording this, he was evicted from his apartment. So it just goes to show how he was doing during that time span, Kurt Cobain was an interesting person. One thing that he did was downplay his physical image, like how he looked, physically. And he instead decided to perfect his craft in music, songwriting, instrumental playing, kind of to make up for what he thought was imperfect about him. He carried around one photo, and it was a photo with him talking about there's a billboard behind him saying that Jesus is the way to go, all that stuff. And he felt that's the one time he looked good on the picture. So it's interesting. He was a young man, handsome man, whatever. And when you deal with that, a lot of it, they said it comes with like depression and all that stuff. So that self-image and all that shit. I watched a little bit of the documentary today. Okay. And one thing that happened was that he used to watch Sesame Street.
You want to shout out the documentary real quick?
Yeah, actually, I have it right here. Let me find that shit. It's called Kurt Cobain Montage of Heck. So it's a great watch. It's on HBO Max. Pretty good. And I mean, yeah, just real quick, he used to watch Sesame Street. He used to draw when he was younger. And the reason I only looked into a little bit of the documentary, but it kind of told me everything I needed to know in the beginning, right?
Okay.
His father didn't really like Kurt Cobain's energy as a child. The way the mother put it was saying that he thought that kids should be seen and not heard, Uh-huh. And Kurt Cobain was very high energetic when he was younger. And this made Kurt Cobain feel embarrassed when he was around his father, because his father would kind of make him feel like he wasn't doing the right thing, acting like a kid should, in his eyes, when he was being a kid. He was just doing the damn thing, And when he was 9, his parents had divorced. And that made him feel, quote unquote, embarrassed to death. One of the things he did when that happened was that he took out all the light bulbs in the house.
Okay.
And he locked the babysitter in and left. He became rebellious, ultimately.
And that's also during a time where marriages, divorce wasn't really common.
It was kind of the thing where if your parents got divorced, you were looked at as like an odd child. Like, that doesn't happen. Are you okay? Is he gonna? Some people were left behind in class. In a year, they were held back because their parents were divorced and stuff. That's weird, man. Because it has kind of nothing to do with it. I guess it could definitely take a, pounding on your academics in general. Yeah. But not that you should be left back for that shit. That's kind of interesting. But we definitely didn't do that as often. It was kind of neutral family, right? All that stuff. Not neutral. What is it? Nuclear?
Nuclear family.
Nuclear family. The four-house family. So yeah, he became rebellious enough that his mom was just getting fed up, and she sent him to live with his father. And his dad said that he would never marry again, and then his dad married again. You know, so that fucked up, Kurt Cobain. And eventually, he started to become mean to his step siblings. So then there's no stepmom, step siblings. The stepmom got really upset, so she sent him away to live with his friends. Even there, he wasn't able to be tolerated. He was kicked out everywhere he went. It was kind of like wherever he would go, he wasn't accepted or didn't allow himself to be accepted. And what he really wanted was just his mother. So this is obviously what we all know, and what he's not what he's famous for, but it's very sad, is that he committed suicide in Seattle on April 5th, 1994. Right? He had been using heroin and used a shotgun to his head, which is crazy. And he was identifiable only because of his fingerprints.
My doctor actually told me when we were first getting to know each other, he was like, oh, do you like when he was getting to know me about bands and things like that, because he also played guitar and things like that. So, and he told me, he's like, I remember the day when Kurt Cobain died. And I'm just like, man, I can only imagine how the reaction to that when that happened.
Yeah, and we kind of lived through a thread of time where we can only get so much from his presence. He's not here now, is what I'm trying to say. But people coming up with his music or just watching him and perform live and all that stuff, I mean, it must have been a fucking crazy experience. And I know for sure when it comes to this album, one thing that really blew my mind was that the lyricism is very much true to who he was and how he wanted to have his music listened to. And we'll get into we'll get into depth later on. But it blew my mind. It blew, because I hear this album so often that when I finally looked into the lyrics of it, I was like, oh shit. This shit is way heavier and deeper than it's supposed to be. Yeah. Not that it was supposed to be, but then when I was listening.
Than what you could appreciate it for. Because I'll say that this is the first time I've listened to this album in my adulthood.
Okay.
So I've listened
been younger, hobby, always listening to shit.
Yeah, I've listened to this album as a kid, as a teenager and whatever. This is my first time ever giving it a proper sit down and listen to in my adulthood. And I definitely made me kind of think of some things where I was like, wow, I definitely did not catch a lot of these things.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Fucking so we'll get into the album cover, right? For those watching here, the album cover will be here. For those watching there, what's up? So on the cover we see obviously the baby who's chasing the dollar on a hook inside the water. I looked into what that was, and the name of the baby then, with this penis all and shit, is Spencer Eldon. And he was 4 months old at the time.
Okay.
Right?
There's been a lot of drama about that recently.
Oh, really?
About the album cover of like if he should get royalties or not from it and things like that.
Man, he should just be happy enough he's on the cover. Oh, he's actually conflicted on how he feels about that, because he is naked on the cover and the whole world is essentially seeing his dick, you know? So I'll get to that in a second, because I'll tell you how it happened. His father, Rick Eldon, helped an underwater photographer, Kurt Cobain, shoot the album cover of Nevermind.
Okay.
The cover is a baby struggling to breathe on the water, chasing a dollar bill attached to a fish hook. And they were paid just $200 to shoot this photo shoot of this cover. The Spencer Eldon guy who wants the royalties for the cover and all that stuff, he said in 2016 in an interview with Time Magazine or Time something, he said, looking back, it feels kind of stupid doing interviews about it because I had nothing to do with it, but a lot to do with all of it at the same time. Yeah. So he's pretty much conflicted about it. Again, him being nude on the cover, I can kind of feel how that's a little strange for him, but we just won't never know how he feels.
Yeah,
you know?
It's just it almost reminds me of if I'm remembering his name correctly, Jake Lloyd. He's the guy who played Anakin in episode 1 of Star Wars, like, which is like young Anakin in the whole saga of it.
Because he's like old with the white beard and everything, right? Anakin or no?
Nah, Anakin is what you'll probably recognize him more as like the emo dude, the one with the scar across his eye, and he's like
with the red paint on his face. That's somebody else, right?
That's someone else.
Damn it. Clearly, I don't know shit about Star Wars yet.
I'm going to just leave it at that. But
Google
this dude, like, as a kid, like, he played Anakin and, like, later just talked about how that, like, basically that ruined his life. That Star Wars has ruined his life.
How so?
He's kind of dramatic about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Goddamn Anakin. I was about to root for you and shit. It reminds me of the little girl who played in The Exorcist. She didn't. I don't think she had any like stunt doubles, or she had to actually say those lines. Have you ever seen The Exorcist?
I haven't actually.
Okay. I want to. It's a good movie. It definitely is not as terrifying, I guess, if you were in the theaters at first, because it was one of the first times a crowd has experienced that type of vulgar movie horror shit. You know, not to ruin it, but you've seen pictures of it, I'm assuming. No?
Yeah.
Like she's vomiting.
I've seen clips and things like that.
And she's talking like this. She's just talking like, and I think what fucked her up, because later on she had to get like psychiatric help and all this stuff, and I'm pretty sure that movie had a big part in fucking her up. You know, because now you can't do that shit at all, and it's just so controversial for anything to happen in general. So you breathe wrong, it's people mad. So
I don't like the way you breathe at me, Frankie.
Bitch. So the reason the initial cover that Kurt Cobain wanted, he was watching a lot of programs about water births at the time, like you know, birthing in the water. And he wanted to use footage of a water birth on the cover, but the label, Griffin Records, they were like, nah, like they were not gonna do that at all. They were like, fuck Kurt Cobain. And so he was like, fuck it, we'll do a swimming baby. But to get that picture he wanted initially, it would have cost $7,500.
Oh wow!
So instead of doing that, they said, hey, let's just shoot that shit ourselves, right? And then the record company, they really didn't want the baby's penis to show. Like they were like, nah, bro, we're not putting that. We're the label company, all that stuff. And even though Nirvana was hard to convince, Kurt Cobain eventually said, all right, we'll do it. But the one condition is that there has to be a sticker on top of the baby's penis that says, if you're offended by this, you must be a closet pedophile.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Now I really don't know what happened in the future in regards to that, but that's pretty funny. Because, you know, like, what are you offended about? Again, we live in a world now where everybody and their mom's offended about everything. But yeah. And what do you think the cover means?
I mean, I would just imagine it's just kind of the youth chasing like money and capitalism and things like that, because Kurt Cobain is definitely like he's very anti-capitalistic, and he's just very against the grain of a character. Yeah. And he's smart as fuck. He's almost poetic in how he speaks type shit, because just him talking, hearing his thoughts. Like there's a final interview on YouTube. I don't know if you've ever seen it's like his final interview before he killed himself. I don't think so.
He's just a clever person who doesn't use a lot of wording to show it. I think what he does in his music is very much the same as how he speaks in person. Just simple answers that you're like, huh, Like I didn't need a full-bodied explanation. We just had to have that one sentence. And there's a very famous part of the interview where the interviewer saying, "Why you're so nice in person to Kurt Cobain? You're so sweet and such a nice person." And all the interviewers before have told me that, you know, when you're talking to you, you get kind of upset or this and that. And Kurt Cobain kind of like laughs and smirks and he's like, "Well, you've never met me." You know, it's like all these days I have to answer questions about myself back and forth and back and forth. And I guess today you might have caught me on a good day, but there's reasons to why people may have this. He didn't say that, the reasons as to why people may have this opinion on him. But ultimately, like, it's just, that's one little snippet of who he was as a whole character.
Yeah, I mean, he in general hated interviews and things like that. Like I would love to find this if we could, but there's like a clip of him saying in an interview or something like, why don't you just stop asking us about the music and just listen to it?
Yeah, man. I mean, I like that a lot. And for some reason, I don't know why, but that reminds me of when John Lennon was saying, like, why do you guys read drugs into our music? That's you guys, not us. You know, even though God knows what the fuck they were into just because of drugs.
I mean, they were on drugs while they fucking wrote the thing. So,
I'm trying to relate, man. Essentially, what you said is exactly what it is. It's the societal expectation to spend your entire life chasing money from the moment you come out the womb, all the way up until the day that you end up in a casket. It was a theme that ran throughout the band's work, and the cover, therefore, acts as an extension of the LP it contains. So that's just a little sum up I found on the good old internet and shit. And it's true. I mean, to be honest, I never even thought about the album cover. That's how significant it is. You know, you look at the album cover.
I mean, it's iconic for a reason.
Yeah, you don't think of anything else except, you know, just all the amazing songs that come with it. And I think we're going to go into it in a second. Again, I think everybody knows like at least 5 of these songs, and even myself didn't expect to have what's it called? What they're talking about is so much different than what it sounds like. I think so, you know? And so what do you have to say about that one? What's your thoughts and shit before we get into like the track list and shit?
I mean, I love this album. It's nice. It's so good. It still just holds up. And like, again, the first time I've listened it fully in my adulthood, and it's just, there are songs where I'm like, fuck, if I was there in the scene, like at the time, I would fucking go nuts. Holy shit. Yeah. But it was good shit, man. It was good shit.
It's one of those once in a lifetime experiences type shit, man. I wish I got to see this motherfucker perform. And so many people. But then I always feel that there's musicians everywhere today where I'm not going to say they're next Kurt Cobain, but they're their next themselves. Yeah. And that's why it's always good to see live music wherever you go.
Of course.
So yeah, man. So let's start off, and we're going to start off with Smells Like Team Kurt Cobain. I'm just kidding. Team Spirit right here, you know? So this I'll just put out just because the Spotify has a great little thing at the bottom. It didn't do it for every song, but it showed how the song came about, Smells Like Team Spirit. Okay. Basically, he was having a friend over, and they were, you know, playing with spray paint and all that stuff, Kurt Cobain and his friend. And they were talking about Teen Revolution earlier. Okay. Right? So because they had discussed it earlier, one of them wrote on the wall, they wrote, "Kurt smells like Teen Spirit." And Kurt Cobain was like, "Oh shit, like that's very nice. Like it says like somebody that can inspire is what I smell like, you know, like revolution and spirit." But really what she was trying to say to him is that he smelled like deodorant. So that's just a random fucking thing that I thought it was gonna be much more significant and crazier than that. But she was just trying to fuck around. But he kind of took it as like, "Oh, thanks," you know, like that's what I am. And
I feel like it's something you would do.
I'll look into shit all the time, man. Way too into shit and stuff. So yeah, but of course we know with the lights out.
From my notes, I just have classic, a little overplayed. OD. But something that I never really thought about is just how he actually says "Nevermind" in the song. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's just something that never really hit me. I was like, oh, yeah, duh. Like, and he fucking says it.
And when the album came out, from the documentary I saw, everybody and their mom was playing the shit everywhere. Oh yeah. So when you say it's overplayed, hell yeah. I mean, who hasn't heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit" fucking a billion times, you know? But no matter how many times you hear it, it's still like, but yeah. But that's pretty much what I got too for that song too. I mean, It really isn't nothing.
Yeah, you know the song.
Yeah, it's a great start off song too for the album and everything.
Oh yeah, it definitely opens it up for like, arguably better songs.
Very much arguably better songs. And yeah, and I'll continue. Let you start off with In Bloom. This is your second song, second track on the album.
For my notes, I got awesome riff. And I really enjoy the opening verse, "Sell the kids for food."
Yeah, man. Actually, I wrote that right there. It says "Sell the kids for food." Just a cool line to have there. And so we got the part where it says, "He's the one who likes all our pretty songs," right? Mm-hmm. And then it continues, says, "And he likes to sing along, and he likes to shoot his gun, but it don't know what it means." For mm-hmm. those that only know song by song, don't know what it means when I say yeah. And now this I thought was fucking awesome because one thing that helped a lot follow this album and to look really much more deeper into the lyrics is Genius, which mm-hmm. They'll take every line and they'll verify the meaning of it. So the ones that aren't verified, I'm not gonna put in here but I really like their way of explaining things, and of course it's just their interpretation.
Yeah.
But he's saying he's criticizing the fair weather fans, quote unquote, that he was saying that they jump on the bandwagon and don't really know what he's talking about, Okay. And he says he was very much aware that many people would not get to the point of his songs and simply sang along with them. So he wrote a very sing-along chorus so that people would find themselves singing but not understanding the song. So who likes all the pretty songs and he likes to sing along but he don't know what it means,
Okay.
And I thought that was important because I'm fucking guilty as shit for that. Because when I go further down to the album, I'm like, no, I didn't know anything he was saying with this song. There may be a couple things that I picked up on, like you don't eat fish because fish don't have any feelings. Like we'll get to that later on, but I would get high as fuck before and be like, yeah, man, like no, all jokes aside, like that shit would really hit me, and I'll be like, that shit is pretty fucking deep. And I may not know why, but for some reason that stuck with me for so long. I'm talking, there's been days where I'll just stare off into space and I'm like, and I've had arguments with people about this. So yeah, man. But I really like that because I didn't know he was that self-aware about the situation in terms of his music.
Oh yeah, he's always like, he's like his biggest critic.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like the way he talks about himself is just it's so self-diminishing.
Yeah.
It's just, you really see like how much he kind of did not like himself as a person.
Yeah.
And it just showed how self-aware he was of himself, and just especially the scene at the time.
Yeah.
Because they really wrote these really catchy songs.
Yeah, man.
And that's something
that still hold up today, like you just said. Like it's incredibly still hold up today.
Yeah, and that's something I would have never really thought about. Of like, oh, it's about bandwagging, mm-hmm. and that's surprising to me.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, and then there's another line that I like in the song that says, "We can have." No, it's like some more. Nature is a whore, bruises on the fruit, tender age and bloom. And what he's talking about, saying that nature is not working for us. Nature is existing on its own for itself and doesn't serve anything but itself. So when he says nature is a whore, it's kind of saying like nature is always giving to us humans, just like a whore is always giving sex.
Yeah.
And I like how he says bruises on the fruit, tender age and bloom. And what I found out from that is that when flowers are blooming, all they're really doing is showing their genitals almost. They're kind of just pollinating and shit, and just fucking and shit, So I just think that little things like that, there really is a poetic essence to that.
He's a wordsmith.
Oh my God, incredibly. And man, and his voice is just incredible with that. It really is incredible.
Yeah. Because again, like a wordsmith, like how I just mentioned, John Lennon was also a wordsmith, and we've talked about the Beatles here. So it's an interesting correlation between the two. I think Kurt Cobain like we've just mentioned, he just has lyrics that you don't think about until once you've really understood his message. You're like, oh shit.
Or do a fucking podcast on them and just or look into. But yeah, and I think the most interesting one, I think we'll both know, is Polly, which we'll get to it later on. But right now we're still on In Bloom. And anything else you gotta say about that song?
No, I love that song.
Yeah, it's a good song. There's so many. I love this.
Yeah.
And Come As You Are is a great song, which is the third track. Of course, the most significant line is like, "No, I don't have a gun."
Yeah.
Of course, he did have a gun.
Yeah, it's definitely like a chilling chorus, like considering like what's to come.
Yeah, it's kind of like the statement earlier about the player who's like, "Don't worry, where life goes on," and this and that, and then he gets murdered. You know, just for playing soccer. And one thing that was interesting about that line, "No, I don't have a gun," is that when he wrote, he usually portrayed somebody else's personality or character.
Okay.
Because he said that I'd rather use somebody else's example because my life is kind of boring. I just take stories from things I've read off the television or stories I've heard, and maybe even some friends. Because he felt that what he could, talk about through those experiences or people or art forms, that was more interesting in himself. It comes back to this self-diminishing thing where he didn't like his physical appearance. He didn't think he was that interesting, but what he did know, and I'm pretty sure he had to know, was how talented he was musically, and even then, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know how you can hear this stuff and not. I mean, that's what makes like athletes better. Like I could be better. But I think knowing that you could be better, there's some acknowledgement of how good you are currently. But who knows? I can't speak for the man.
Well, for Come As You Are, I really enjoy, you wouldn't know too much about this, but in the guitar world, we have like effect pedals.
Okay.
So they're just pedals that just apply different effects and things like that to your guitar live and things like that. And for that song, he uses a chorus effect for the riff.
Okay.
So that chorus effect is what gives it that sort of like echoey like sound or that echoey reverb that you hear. Mm-hmm. And that's the chorus effect.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's cool shit to know.
Yeah.
The more I know.
The more you know.
Musically, of course. And now we get to Breed.
Oh, in my notes, I just have fuck yeah. No, I really like this song. It was one of the first songs I actually tried to learn on guitar because I just really enjoyed how fast it was.
You have a cover recorded of any songs on Nevermind?
My cousin and I have a little jam session that we did some years ago where we played Lithium.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's on my Instagram.
Lithium's one of the best. I think it's not my favorite song on the album, but it's definitely the most interesting, I think, out of all the songs outside of Polly. But yeah, with Breed, I just thought that one of the more interesting lines is when he says, we could plant a house, we could build a tree, I don't even care, we could have all three, you know? And they just say that he basically switches up. If you see, we could plant a house and we could build a tree. It's not, we could build a house, we could,
Yeah.
And they're talking about how it had to do with his inability to seek out a partner. Poking out that a man has to do so many things to reproduce with a woman.
Okay.
But he's like, we could just, let's see.
We could just kind of do these things
without actually kind of going forward with all that bullshit, And regarding his like parents' divorce and stuff like that, I think that had a lot to do with, how unappreciated I think marriage is too, or this procreation, how often it happens and how insignificant it kind of is rather than this beautiful miracle, and, anti-women's choice and all that stuff because he was a huge feminist.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, bro. I almost skipped out on those notes about his feminism, because this is a very famous video. I think that everybody's seen of like him stopping it was like somebody harassing a woman sexually in the crowd, and he stopped the show and he's like, hey, stop doing that shit. And then he stopped.
Oh, I don't think I've seen this.
It was like, it was all around, and it happened a lot where it came to like Travis Scott's Astroworld thing. Everybody and their mom started putting out videos and stuff. So, I mean, I hope I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty goddamn sure like he has a video like that. I'll show you right after the thing.
Nice.
And the here and supplementary and all that stuff. But yeah, so now we get to Lithium.
Oh, well, actually, before we get into Lithium,
please
I really like the bass line in Breed.
Okay.
Yeah,
man, of course. So addicting off the bat and shit. Okay.
Has a great bass line. And also growing up, so my sister's name, shout out to my sister. Her name is Giselle.
Okay, nice. Shout out to her.
Whenever growing up, whenever I heard this song, I swore he was saying her name because when he says she said, I'm like, she said,
you know Kurt Cobain? No, I don't.
So growing up, I was like, she said, like he's saying your name in this song.
That's funny as shit. Maybe he was. You never know. He got it wrong.
That's just a little hobby fun fact.
Nah, the funnest effects for hobby. Okay, so you got everything for Breed?
Yeah, no, that's
nice.
Yeah, so we can go on to Lithium.
Nice.
And yeah, for my notes here, I just like I mentioned, used to know how to play this song. Great song, great riff to it. Also has an amazing bass line to it. And definitely this song, like when I think about it lyrically, is a lot about like manic depression.
Yeah. I mean, every line in there is kind of crazy, you know. Like in the beginning, I'm so happy. The next one, I'm so ugly. What this song was about is basically a man becoming religious to get over the death of his spouse.
Okay.
I had no idea about that shit. But,
wow.
You know? Again,
there's a whole story in there.
Yeah, bro. And again, I would never have known this if I didn't look up the lyrics. And that's why when we talked about Sweet Tooth, right? I really got more into it because I had to listen to every lyric before I could hear anything. Because when I was just listening to your album walking home, it's not that I couldn't pick up on the lyrics. There was so much sound, and my ears aren't trained to hear the lyrics and pick up those sounds. I kind of just pick up the melody or whatever, the actual music part instead of the sing-songing part. So this was really cool to get into. And again, I didn't know that shit at all. And when in the beginning he's like, I'm so happy because today I found my friends. They're in my head. Yeah. It says the friends in his head, this makes him happy because it is allowing him to finally get over the depression of his wife dying. And Chris Novoselic, right? Wasn't I say his name? Novoselic.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was the bassist and the founding member of Nirvana.
Okay.
You know? Actually, since Kurt Cobain died, he started 2 new bands, Sweet 75 in 1995 and Eyes Adrift in 2002.
Okay.
And he has an album out with both of them. He says about Kurt Cobain, he says, Kurt might have been too conscious of his own flaws, but didn't feel like he could change it. It just, quote unquote, broke our mirrors, try his best to ignore it. And that's when he says, I'm so ugly. That's okay, because so are you. Broke our mirrors, you know. So that's what he's talking about how self-conscious he was about himself, his appearance. And we'll put the picture up right here, but this is the picture right here on the bottom right where he felt like he looked the best.
Okay.
That he carried around in his pocket and everything. That's just some random shit, man. And on the billboard in the back it says, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and thou shalt be saved. That I didn't know, but he's actually religious.
Yeah.
He was very religious. I just figured that off the bat, you know, most people who just like, you know, perform music like this, you're bad, those anti-Christ kids, but he was very religious. And the line that says, light my candles in the days because I found God. Yeah. I was like, oh, duh. Like, he actually isn't. And the line refers to Kurt's life after his parents' divorce. After seeing his mom date an abusive man, after not receiving the attention he craved from his father, Kurt became rebellious. And then we go back down to what we talked about earlier, where, I mean, it's just, you know, how he just goes forward, you know, from something that tough, and it must be tough, you know. This is just I'm taking a lot from Genius just because I felt like they're the best way to go forward with things in terms of line by line. But this was just a cool thing I think they wrote. I don't know if it necessarily is any of his words. But it says, religion is an empty comfort like opium for the people. As Marx put it. Karl Marx, I'm assuming. Okay. When people are desperate, they turn to religion for comfort, structure, and meaning. But it's really an illusion, just like heroin. So, yeah, I mean, this motherfucker was faithful and a drug user. So either way. But I do think that's true too. And I don't necessarily think it's a wrong thing going towards religion when you're desperate. Because religion's going to be there no matter what. Yeah. Desperate or not, believer or not, I mean, it's gonna be there regardless, and it really is within you more so than
the way I always look at it. It's just like whatever gets you up, and like whatever helps you get up.
Basically,
like in the morning, that's it.
Hell yeah! Shout out to Jesus. And then we get to Polly, which is what I've been referring to the whole time, and goddamn. So how about you start us off, man?
Well, I mean, for my notes, all I got really is a depressing tone for in general, was just seems a lot about like abusive, like an abusive relationship. Yeah. But I love the line where he says, "Amazes me the will of instinct." Yeah. It's just the way he says it. It's just, I love that line.
The song definitely has a very spooky ass tone to it. Actually, the song is about the actual kidnapping of a 14-year-old girl.
Oh, wow.
Bro, in 1987, this girl was returning home from a concert in Tacoma, Washington. And she was abducted by a guy named Gerald Friend. He took her back to his mobile home and raped her. The girl, whose name was not released, was tortured with a whip, a razor, and a blowtorch. And she managed to escape when he stopped out for gas. And he was arrested and sent to jail.
Wow.
So what was the line you said again? The
amazes me, the will of instinct.
I think that was what he is reference to her like escaping out and everything. Or it could have been just her complying, because what he would do is that he would starve her. That's why it's like, Polly wants a cracker, you know, like saying that, like, you know, what you're gonna, instead of the parrot, it's more so saying like he's gonna starve you, so then when she gives him, like, you know, sex or any pleasure, he's gonna feed her.
Yeah,
that's fucked up. It's just some, like, I didn't know that's what it meant, all that stuff and everything. And
yeah, no, man,
Jesus fucking crazy.
That's definitely heavy. Like,
yeah, super.
Because I mean, like I said, but just from like lyrically for myself, I definitely got like sort of like the abusive like tone from it.
Because it's like, cut yourself. Like he just said that stuff too, right? I might be thinking of a different tune, but he says that too also, like cut yourself in the song and everything. Yeah, I mean it does, and it 100% did. Even like what you said with an abusive relationship. I mean, I'm not saying that's exactly what it was, but kind of in a way. It's an exchange for an exchange, and none of it was pleasant at all. So that shit is crazy. Yeah. crazy.
Man, I never thought that Kurt Cobain was really so much of a like, yeah, I knew he was a wordsmith, and I knew he loved like storytelling, but not like this.
He's like prestige wordsmith. 10th prestige, fucking all that shit. And at that point I finally realized like how intense this album really is, because of course, his own, you know, talking about his own life is very interesting too, and very deep and all that stuff. But this was just kind of like applaud that, because I'm not applauding the subject matter. I'm just saying that's a very clever way to do that, you know, with using that reference to a parrot and Polly. And I mean, it's just sad overall. And thankfully the lady got away, but there's no happy endings in that situation.
Yeah.
You know,
that's fucked up.
Yeah, OD. So now we get to the territorial pissings.
In my notes, I got fuck yes, mosh.
Yeah, man. And I think one of the interesting things about a lot of the music on this album is that most of it is very, again, catchy, great, you know. And then you get like things like territorial pissings, but also endless meanings at the end, right? Or endless nameless. There we go. And I thought, because again, I'm not like the biggest Nirvana listener all the way, you know. I know there's like In Utero and Bleach and all that stuff, but I know like bits and pieces of the albums and stuff. But I think that when you get to songs like this and Endless Nameless, right? Yeah, that's what Nirvana also sounds like too. Oh yeah, you know, that's really what they sound like.
I feel like that's their staple. Yeah, it's like everyone. I have a pretty funny story where I knew this girl who used to work with me back at Ben and Jerry's.
Oh shit!
And she was definitely more on like the younger side, and she was kind of thrown off by my music and stuff. And she was like, I don't understand this music. They're just like shouting and things like that and whatever. And I guess like maybe one day she tried to find a middle ground with me. She was like, hey, maybe let's put on some Nirvana. Yeah. And I was like, you want to put on Nirvana? Yeah, man. And she's like, yeah, it's like, I like Nirvana. I'm like, I mean, I'm sure you like Smells Like Teen Spirit, but do you like Nirvana?
Exactly.
Like, and then Territorial Pissings came on. She was like, yeah.
Finish it off. Put on Wonderwall on this. That's all I want to hear, man. And that's what I got. Like that, this album is a treat. It's a real treat, and a way to branch to all listeners. But realistically, that's my impression of this album. That especially once you get in, you're like, oh, this is great. And when you're getting out, you're like, I don't know if I like Nirvana that much. You know? So, but nah, man, this made me appreciate his voice more. And I think in the documentary, they took his voice from Endless Nameless, and instead of the music, they just have him screaming. Or one of the songs where he's like, stay away, you know, like where he's just going hard.
Where he, I think that's in, which song is that in? I think it's in Territorial Pissings, because
it might be.
Territorial Pissings has that opening where it's
Come
like,
on! Yeah, right, that whole thing, right?
So it ends with him just just shouting and yelling,
and they solo the vocals. You know,
I remember that. I remember that moment from the documentary.
So good, and then you realize like that's such a art form in itself, and that's when it brings you back to Cosmic Thrill Seekers. You know, because when you really think about like that's what I appreciate about his voice the most. That it was so like you know, but at the same time it was in line with what he was trying to portray within the music as well. So there's a real beauty to that voice. I just feel like people don't understand it, are not as used to it. And the more popular version is like John Legend singing, you know, or Adele, you know, that pleasantry instead of that real grit type shit. So, but yeah, Territorial Pissing is a great song. I mean, there's not that much to it lyrically, but there's a lot of meaning to it, which, you know, we don't gotta get into so much because I got everything here. But
the one thing that I did kind of see that I was hoping you might bring this up because I didn't look into it myself, but I saw that lyrically the song is supposed to do about like Native Americans and
Territorial Pissing references Native Americans, people smashed by raging attacks. That's what it says right here. And actually I guess I will bring it up. What Kurt Cobain was when he says when I was an alien, cultures weren't opinions. Right.
Okay.
And he was talking about himself when he was younger. And when he was a kid, he used to fantasize that he was an alien who was adopted by his human parents and would eventually meet other aliens and find out why they were all here. But back to the Native American thing.
That sounds reminiscent of the Living Hell from Planet or whatever it's called, the mini comic in Mouse.
And Mouse, something of Living Hell. Oh shit! So let me actually, because I was reading it and not hearing it. But in what way does it remind you of that? Because you gotta check in my brain.
Because if you remember, it's like the mini comic, like Art Spiegelman, of how he feels like his life was a prison because of like
how his parents suffered from the Holocaust,
upbringing, and all that stuff.
Got you. Hell yeah! It's just, you know, when you reach it, you don't really fucking read it. What I was trying to read was that he says he saw how much people of different cultures look down on each other, witnessing firsthand the mistreatment of Native Americans. So I'm happy you brought that up because I didn't know what he meant. It only went through the definition of territorial pissings when it says in reference to the Native Americans. But yeah, I mean, again, it just goes deeper and deeper. And, and what I will read though is well, I did read the other thing too, but it says never met a wise man. If so, it's a woman. And I'm just gonna read off the 3 quotes from him, just because again I didn't realize how big of a feminist he was. They're pretty long quotes, but I'll try to be a little fast. Well, the first one that says, "I'm definitely a feminist. I'm fucking disgusted by the way women are treated. It's 1993, and some people think that we're in the 1950s. We need to make more progress. There needs to be more female musicians, more female artists, more female writers. Everything is dominated by males, and I'm fucking sick of it." He then says, "Because I couldn't find any friends, male friends that I felt compatible with, I ended up hanging out with a lot of girls, a lot, and I just always felt they weren't treated with respect, especially because women are just totally oppressed." And his last thing says, quote, "I definitely feel closer to the feminine side of the human being than I do to the male, or to the American idea of what a male is supposed to be. Just watch a beer commercial and you'll see what I mean." I actually agree with that last line, and it's actually one of the reasons I got my tattoo. You feel me? I actually have my tattoo, like, not, you can't see it, and I don't know, you can't see it, but it's a lady looking, holding like a skull above, right? And one of the reasons I think that is because there's people think that you're pure testosterone or pure estrogen, and I think what people don't understand is that when it comes to your hormones, there could be an imbalance to your hormones. There are different sides of people. Some people are more in line. Some men are more in touch with their femininity, and some women are more in touch, all that stuff. And the reason I have like this is just because, at the end, they were all just bones. We're just all just dead ass, bones talking through organs. And it just gets all weird. But I do think that also, man. You ever seen a car commercial? Fucking,
no, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, another feminist was Neil Gaiman, actually.
Wow. I didn't know that. So I can see that through how he expresses all types of characters in his books and shit like that,
Yeah.
And how the Lucifer is a woman and stuff like that. I like that part a lot. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of like being a feminist and like just sort of being in touch with your femininity, like I hope I said that right.
It's hard to say. Femininity.
But I mean, that's just such a fuck yeah to that.
Yeah, man, seriously.
Because I've always been a strong advocate of like, don't be a man.
Yeah, that shit is actually pretty fucking stupid, and But some people are raised having to feel that way, you know, and it could be for both. Like, it could be like a woman like wanting just like a tomboy, and some people were like, you need to dress. I mean, I had a little cousin who they were one time. Her mom didn't like that she played sports like that because she was like she didn't dress like a girl. I'm like, bro, she's a girl though, you know, like oh whatever. But as long as she's being a human being, you know, that's first before anything. We're kind of outgrowing that, but now we're going just. It's so interesting nowadays with all that stuff. But I mean, again, ahead of his time, even when he says it's 1993 and some people think we're in the 1950s. I mean, it's 2022 and some people still think we're in the 1950s. You know, it's fucking ridiculous, man. So yeah, bro.
Yeah, no, he's very quotable.
Oh yeah, man.
I mean, so after Territorial Pissings, we go to Drain You.
Yep.
Which has such a catchy riff. And has such a gross chorus to it. I never really like looked the lyrics. I'm like, ew.
True you meet for you, pass it back and forth. I'm a passionate kiss from my mouth to yours. I like you. I think what I saw here is that he says this. It says the baby is then completely dependent on adults to care for it, i.e. chew its meat. When we hear the chorus for the first time, passionate kiss is not meant to be sexual, but remind us once again of our animalistic nature, like how a bird feeds its young.
Huh.
Interesting, right? Genius is definitely a great song.
Genius is a fucking genius.
Oh, shit. Basically. And yeah, I was this song, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was just confused by it lyrically. You know, this one was too much for me, where I was like, what the fuck are you saying? But when he says like, with eyes so dilated, I become your pupil. When you look at somebody like you love or have a sexual attraction to, your pupils dilate. But I do like that it says, you taught me everything without a poison apple. Meaning that you show me the way, but you didn't have to go to the severity of hurting me, you know?
It definitely just feels like his own version of a love song.
Yeah.
It's like, this is like the closest he could ever get to like writing a love song for someone.
I think that's a great way to put it, honestly speaking. Because it says, it's now my duty to completely drain you. Like, that's what love is. Take it as you will. And then it says, I traveled through a tube and end up in your infection. Oh, man. It's just... Again, it was just very, very difficult for me to
even when I think about it, travel up a tube into your infection when you get married and things like that.
Yeah. Shit.
In health and all that.
It says right here, while it could be a penis or umbilical cord, the tube is probably the mouth, esophagus, trachea, draining the other person to the mouth and sucking all the diseases from within. Genius, you're going a little too hard, Genius.
That one's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. I'm gonna call that, amateur, no genius. Nothing. And then we get to Lounge Act.
Lounge Act. Mm-hmm. The fun fact about this, the bass line in the beginning came up because they were in a lounge when he did it.
No way.
Yeah. And they were just like, yo, let's record that.
They asked him how he came up with the name Nirvana, right? Mm-hmm. And the interviewer was like, well, it means, this and this. And Nirvana was like, because he was reading the definition basically of what Nirvana means.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I mean, you can say that. That's the Webster dictionary. But honestly speaking, Kurt Cobain said this. He was like, I just got up in the morning and I said something and it just stuck, but I have no idea what I said. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, again, he felt that he made music and that people wanted to read into it, but he didn't make it so people could read into it. So then he started to do that. But I think I think a lot of his music is a big sum of who he is as a person. It really isn't that complicated, but it is at the same time.
Yeah,
right?
it like talking about Kurt Cobain is like the Charlie Day meme where it's like the bulletin board behind him. He's looking all crazy. And he's like, yeah. And he's like looking at all the different points. He's like, no, we gotta do this.
That episode is so fucking funny, man. Holy shit. The mail never stops. Fucking It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Great fucking show, man. But yeah, Lounge Act, again, as we go further, I only got more to say on Stay Away and Is Something in the Way.
Can you read me the verse to Lounge Act?
Yeah, it says, truth covered in security. I can't let you smother me. I'd like to, but it couldn't work. Trading off and taking turns. I don't regret a thing.
I really like the verse of that because I had that in my notes, and because at first I wasn't too sure about the song. It was a little like funky for me at first, but definitely like as it gets more into energy by the end of the song, I'm like, I like this, and especially with the verse because he repeats it a couple more times throughout the song. So definitely a good song still.
And what sucks for me that I wish we had the fucking earphones in, because I keep thinking of every tune that's familiar to me, but when the album gets more deeper and further, like it's. I bet you ask most people how does this song sound like, and they'll sing like "Smells Like Teen Spirit" or "Stay Away." Like those things stick with me. So for me, trying to think about how Lounge acts, how does this sound?
The bass line.
Yeah, how's it go?
No, because now I'm getting the bass line confused with with Breed.
Yeah, man. It's fucking, because they're all so fucking good. Every fucking song is good on this album, man. But that's what you just said is exactly what I'm going through. That's why I read it so plain outside the other ones, like I sang it. And so now we get to "Stay Away," which this is my favorite song on the album.
Okay.
My favorite song on the album. Nothing else except when it goes now. Oh, it goes I don't know why, but it goes monkey see, monkey do. I don't know why. I just love how that fucking sounds, and it's always been something so like just beautiful to the ear, man. That's all I gotta say about this fucking song.
My favorite line is when he says, "Rather be dead than cool."
Yeah, hell yeah.
Cool line.
Oh, if Kurt Cobain could hear you now. He can't. He actually can't. But yeah, this is absolutely my favorite song. And and I like how one thing I wrote, because I do also like that he's screaming like "stay away," like, you know, he's really like "stay away." And I think one of the most important things about that, referencing back to earlier, is how unhouseable he was. How no matter where he went, he was kicked out of everywhere he went, whether it was his step family, his straight family, all this stuff. And I felt that like that kind of speaks true to everything, you know. And even in I forget which song, it might have been Breeder earlier. He says in Spanish, he's like, "Mama, ¿dónde estás?" Right?
He actually says he does the Spanish thing in Endless Names.
Endless Names, he says it, right? Okay, which we get to then later then, but a lot of what, you know, his mom, like even I just skipped over to "On the Plane," and it says right here, "My mother died every night. It's safe to say, don't quote me on that." You know, like she was significant to him, you know. And I mean, being somebody who's also saying that he was more on the side of his like feminine side and stuff like that, it makes more sense that he's, you know, more relatable to his mother and stuff. And
yeah,
in the documentary, when you see his dad, he looks creepy as fuck. his dad look creepy as fuck, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. Not that I know the guy.
For "Stay Away," something I kind of noted is that it's a very simple song in terms of its structure. Yeah. It's like 4 chords, and it's like just straight to the point. And as he's shouting "stay away," I love how at the very line it's "God is gay." Yeah,
actually I forgot. That's the one I was looking for on the last song. He just throws that in there. I wonder what that's
because the way he screams it, like as he screams louder and louder, "stay away," it becomes more indiscernible, and that's how he just kind of squeezes it in.
Puts it right in.
God is gay, because it sounds like "stay away."
Yeah, man, and I'm sure people probably shit their pants for that shit. It's like when Lennon was like, "The Beatles are bigger than Jesus." You know, that's awesome. That's fucking awesome, and I completely forgot about it. It blocked off right here. I'm happy you mentioned that. Because God is gay as fuck. It's on the record.
On the fucking record.
For the kids.
For the kids.
God is gay for kids.
Can we get a shirt of that?
Of course, bro. With Jesus fondling a child. That's fucking funny, man.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah, hold on. Wait, let me see something real quick. I wonder.
Also,
what's up?
Last note I got, but the way the song drones out at the end, it just kind of like uses a sort of like drone effect.
It just kind of just like the feedback right in there. Just and like it doesn't have that clean cut ending. It kind of, you know.
I enjoyed that.
Nice. Happy you enjoy that. Happy. Now we're on a plane.
On a plane.
How do you sing this in the beginning so I can remember?
Okay, I gotta look at the lyrics.
All right, I'll start this off.
I can't even see from here. I'll start this off without my words. Got so high, I scratched till I bled. I love myself better than you. I know it's wrong, so what should I do?
Let's see.
So the way he sings it, if I remember correctly, I'll start this off
without any words. I got so high, I scratched till I bled. I love myself better than you. I know it's wrong, so what should I do? All right, perfect.
So we know.
That's all we needed to do is read it and have Javi lead the way. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Well, that's all I gotta say for this song. I'm just kidding.
Now, lyrically, it's a super meta song.
Yeah, man.
He like it, and it's just, I wrote that on my notes that it's a super meta song, but as we've been talking about the previous songs, I'm like, oh my fucking God, like this was just the most obvious one, and I'm an asshole. Like,
it's pretty funny. I mean, I guess, man, but I just feel like nothing's obvious with this album, even though it just, to me, it just appears obvious. It just comes off as, you know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, I was like, oh man, this is like a really meta song. He's like really like speaking to like as if he's like actually playing the song or like telling a story on the spot. But it's just like a lot of these songs are kind of meta in general.
Define meta, Javi, because I'm kind of confused. What do you mean by meta?
I mean, like the poly is pretty meta considering.
Oh, okay. So it's not directly speaking about what it is, but then it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. I just needed that. I was like, I don't think we're on the same page right now. So I'm gonna be straight up honest.
That's funny.
That is. I just think that the only thing I got from this song, like, not that it's whatever it is when he says when it's out, the finest day I've ever had was when I learned to cry and come in. And
I like that line too.
And I didn't know what it really meant. I mean, look, right here you'll see when on Genius, when something's not verified, I don't want to obviously spew wrong things, but the way it's put, it says it's easy to get what you want when you can manipulate people through tears. You know, so take it as you will.
Another thing, I mean, the way I look at it, what it makes me think of is the song "Boys Don't Cry" by The Cure.
Boys Don't Cry. I probably know it, but I don't remember it.
I mean, the whole song is just literally what it is. It's just like
boys crying.
Yeah, boys crying, and it's just like,
of course.
But I mean, that's the song that I thought of when I heard that line. Just because it's like, you know, boys aren't supposed to cry, and like we've already talked about how like Kurt Cobain seemed like he was definitely more in touch with his femininity. So I think that is an interesting line to take out, because maybe he was just more sensitive.
I think for sure he was, and it just shows through. I mean, you can't write like this if you're not in touch with your sensitive side. I would think so. I'm sure there's great writers who can just perform on command and do what they got to do because it's what they do. But I really think that he had to be in touch with something in himself, and he smoked a lot of weed too. Yeah. That was just a big thing. He definitely smoked a lot of weed. I have a blue flannel that whenever I wear, I'm
You feel like Kurt Cobain?
I feel like Kurt Cobain because it's the exact blue flannel that he wears, man. And I broke the button, so I got to fix it and shit. But man, that's honestly has to be my favorite shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Fucking, that's why my hair's long, bro. All right, so now we get to
Something in the Way.
Do how we go underneath the bridge. I guess it's Thomas sprung a leak. And no. Oh, this song is the reason I wanted to do this album, because of course in Batman it plays it, right? If you think it's spoiled, it's in the trailer like Javi said, so it's not spoiled. And I mean, again, back to what I was saying earlier, before this podcast or Batman or in general, but before I knew anything, my favorite line was, "It's okay to eat fish because they don't have any feelings." For some reason, that has always been like to me, bro. Like always, and it's amazing. I don't know, but to now, you know, like this is an explanation, this and that, or whatever. But I think my favorite thing about this is that in the movie, right? This is a little spoiler, I guess. But when he goes to the mayors who had just got killed, and when he looks over to the son, the song is playing, and I felt that Batman, he lost his parents. Yeah, this kid lost his mom. I mean his father. Kurt Cobain had his parents divorced. It all comes down to this child being in this area of, you know, lostness. You know, this, you know, real severe emotional drought that no child at that age should have to experience. Yeah, and I felt that that's something that was really interesting with this song. And I was like, maybe that's why they put that in there, because that feeling is inevitable coming out of his mouth, because that's what Kurt Cobain dealt with when he was a kid. feeling like an outsider and somebody who was very, very much in a stage of grief, not in loss, but in loss of his reality.
Yeah, you know? I mean, it's this song, like, especially in the context of the Batman, it just works so well.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that like we mentioned before we started filming, but how almost iconic this song is becoming now with the Batman. And it's like it's almost hard to not like connect the two now.
You have to. I one of the reasons I went to go back to see it again and again and again is so I could hear it in the theaters again, man. Because I feel that that's one of the best speakers we'll ever get. You know, for when you're watching movies and shit. So just hearing the song when it comes on, and you only get it 2 times. You're lucky enough to get it 2 times, but it's just so good. And I love how they just, it's just such a good song. such a good, and I can only associate now with the Batman, like you just said, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that right now.
I was just like, I was in the car while that song was playing, and I was just looking out the window. I'm like, damn,
I'm vengeance. Dude, that's all I think. I just put on my eyeshadow, put on my ears. Who the fuck am I killed today?
Hey, whoa, Batman hasn't killed.
Yeah, he just throws them off fucking 2-story roofs.
Hey, no, they were attached. All right, whoa, hey, I caught that.
No, it was funny because when he dropped all the glass, he was like, he just killed 30 people on the ground with the glass coming to the impending doom. And the car crashed.
I also thought about that.
And then when the cars exploded, he don't kill nobody. He just 3rd degree burns them. Fucks up their facial features forever.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, this is just a great, simple song.
And it's a great outro to the album. Yes. It just kind of really mellows you out and just really takes all the energy from this album and just like puts it in the rear seat and just kind of like takes you on a ride for one last song.
I agree. And because when you get to Endless Nameless, the ride is over. That beautiful Smells Like Teen Spirit energy you're not getting no more of those. It's like, okay, let's go back to being, Nirvana. Like you just said, like this is what we really, really are. And I'm kind of happy that it's like that, because I think there's it's like options, like kind of like a buffet for everybody, but I still think they didn't kind of go away from their roots, doing all this at the same time.
You have to consider they left a 6.5 minute song of them just jamming as their last song. That's fucking awesome. In their second album.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And
this is something to do on like the first album, whatever. Like on your debut, just throw it.
I didn't consider that.
Throw it on like the B side, but like
the B hole. Had to throw it in there.
I thought about it too, but no. I mean, for anyone to do this, I mean, it makes me think of like a J. Cole's
he's just thanking people for us Hills Drive at the end, like that. Yeah, man.
Just kind of makes me think of that. It's like it's just so unnecessary, but it's still a part of that album as a whole. That
makes me think of Food and Liquor by Lupe Fiasco. At the end, he spends 60 minutes just thanking random people. I didn't like. This is the same as the J. Cole thing as it is to the Lupe Fiasco thing, and this came out before the Food and Liquor. But I just think that that's a cool thing to do on your album. It's a ballsy thing to do too, because people are sticking around to the end and stuff, and that's cool, man. Like he'll just say thank you to random. He'll be like, "Thank you, Kid Robot." Like he'll just say random shit. And Kid Robot's a great brand. I love that brand. But I didn't consider it with just the second album, and he didn't think it was. I mean, probably most people don't, but he didn't think his album was gonna sell so much.
Oh yeah,
I mean, being evicted during the time of recording it and all that stuff, and I definitely want to look more into Kurt Cobain in general.
He's an extremely interesting person.
Yeah. I felt like I wish I had dedicated like just more like days even just to get more into his head or watch more shit about him, because I mean, this is just scathing the surface right now. This is just like barely getting into them. But I do know that this is an album that most people are familiar with.
So, I feel like this is the album that if you've listened to Nirvana, this is probably the one album you've listened to 100%. Of Nirvana.
And you've heard Smell Like Teen Spirit. We know you have. Don't tell us,
You're a fucking liar, Jake.
Fucking Kurt. Nah, this is the last thing I'll say. In the documentary, he says his name as a kid. He says like, I'm Kurt Cobain, and you're like, holy shit, man. Like to all of us, we kind of just always think about the guy who has long hair and smoking a cigarette, playing guitar. But he was a baby once too. And that really like hits, oof, you know, like just it hits because when you see on documentary, you're like, this is a human being who, you know, obviously is not with us no more, but I mean, he left a shitload to talk about. So
yeah,
rest in peace to that motherfucker, because he's rocking up there, down there, or nowhere with the worms, you know. But yeah, man.
Man, what an album!
Hell yeah! Quick to go through, but fucking beautiful.
No, I mean, because you know it's a short album. It's how many tracks was that? Like 12,
I think
13?
12 to 13. I think I got it right here actually. 13.
Yeah, so it's definitely not a lengthy album because I mean something I feel like that that you're probably learning too, that now that you're getting more of a taste of my music and stuff, is that they're not that long.
Yeah. Which I think is for the better, man, because it's just, I mean, I don't know, man. It seems to be working for everything we've heard so far. You know, from what you've showed me, it seems to be the best formula for this type of music. So, and I like that it had to do like more so with like rock and punk and all that stuff and everything. And man, I just gotta listen to more Nirvana. Nice. Straight up, I just really gotta get into them more. But I'm happy with this album this week, man.
So am I.
Fuck.
And before we head out, I just got to do a shout out for the Instagram and things like that. Oh, yeah,
of course.
We're social. And
I hope you're watching. If you are, I hope that shit is still on. We can't see nothing you're rating. But thank you.
But yeah, follow us on Instagram, TikTok.
Earth Mind Matter Pod.
Earth Mind Matter Pod. Yeah. We're always posting shit. That's the best way to follow us and things like that.
Send shit to my Cash App. No. Nice. Nah, but yes, follow that, support it, do what you will, listen if you will, but if you do, thank you.
And I'm gonna just throw this out there.
What's up?
Earth Mind Matter Challenge.
Oh,
try to get someone to listen to the show.
Do it.
That's it.
Do that shit.
Just get one random person to listen to the show. Record it or something.
Something. And more than a challenge, it's a plea. Please do that for us. But if you feel, a challenge, prove us wrong. Prove us all right. I don't know. But yeah, man. So what did we do today, Javi?
We talked about what's going on the earth.
What's happening in our minds.
And this is why it mattered.
This was Earth, Mind, and Matter.
Welcome.
Good morning, good evening, good night.
Boom.
Nice. I think it's a good night, good evening.
Nah, for the one time.